difficult to obtain a firearm. And I do think that we have every right to ban certain firearms if it's done congressionally. I think we've done it before, and we had really good results with the assault weapon ban. So I do think that I don't think that the Second Amendment is unlimited. It's obviously not unlimited. There's certain weapons we already can't get. So if there's some limit, then you can always change what that limit is. And I guess maybe I'd ask you this. So when did somebody bring somebody else up on purpose? Let me pop them out.
No, I don't.
Okay. So what do we do here with our problem with gun violence, specifically in schools? Is there ever going to be a point where we could say, like, yeah, maybe we have to restrict access?
Okay, so I mean that's a two-pronged question. So yes. So the first thing I want to touch on is the HIPAA laws, right? So I think there's a mental illness problem, and should we let mentally ill people have firearms? And who determines what is the mental illness that like separates you from that? So that's one subject. We can delve into that. On your school subject, I think we need to protect schools like we protect courthouses and airports and I don't know, banks. You know, the genie is out of the bottle in this country, right? There's already 400 million pews already out there. So we're not going to be able to legislate that away. So then what do we do to move forward to protect our children in schools? I say we harden the schools just like we harden all of the other institutions.
Well, if you look at like the assault weapons ban, for example, when we had it was 10 years and then it expired, and for those 10 years we saw a precipitous decline in mass shootings in America. It seems like the assault weapon ban actually worked, and I hear when people say like you're not going to be able to get all the weapons off the street, but for some reason that worked. Why wouldn't that work now?
Okay, so I would go back and say that apparently you and I are looking at different data of the assault weapons ban, because what I'm seeing is that it really did not have much effect on the generalized pewing of Americans, right?
Not generalized. I'm talking specifically of like mass shootings.
Okay. Of all the mass shootings or pewings, I don't know what we can say on TikTok anymore. Everything is really in flux. So of the pewings of massiving, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Right. So I don't know what the answer to that is, right? But I will tell you this, right? I'm a defender that the tool is not the problem; it's the person behind the tool. So what is the solution to that? Okay, socioeconomics and mental health, because hammers, swords, right? This is the common defense, is that a person with a hammer or a bat can do some damage. They're not going to do the same damage as you can with a semi-automatic pewing, right? So I agree with that, right? It's general physics or just rational thought, okay. But still, the person behind the tool is the problem, not the tool.
I agree with that, but if limiting access to that tool means more people live.
Okay, so I would disagree with that as well, right? So the defensive use of pews is far greater than offensive use of pews. So why would you limit someone like me, who is a relatively decent person? Why would you legislate against me when we know that legislation doesn't necessarily stop criminality? And then you punish me, right?
So I come from a gun-owning family. I myself have a firearm. I do not have an assault weapon style. I don't have an AR or anything like that. I do know this. When I have purchased firearms in the past, and everybody I know that is an expert when it comes to firearms, not one of them has ever said the best weapon for protecting your home is an assault weapon. It's a shotgun, it's a pistol, it could be like a 22, something that, you know, it's not going to blow through the wall. Like the home defense thing doesn't make sense to me with an assault weapon.
Okay, and that's a fair argument, right? I own 3 of those ARs.
Sure.
Let's call them AWs.
That's
so
right.
We can all be the same, right? AWs, right? So They're not AR, they're AW-17s or whatever the people are calling them. They're fully semi-automatic, as the last I heard. I want people to be more knowledgeable on what they're talking about, because, you know, I grew up in Appalachia. I grew up in the woods. I grew up in the country. I have coyotes. I have bears in my yard with dogs. So my perception of why I would need one of these particular tools is going to be different than somebody in the inner city. or in a civic situation, right? Because you don't have coyotes in Atlanta.
No, I live but what's a scenario where you would need an AR where you couldn't have a smaller caliber rifle, single shot rifle?
I mean, I'm really fast with a bolt action, so I get what you're saying. So there's also, it's like, why? I guess my premise and my argument would be, why would you limit someone like me having all of the capabilities versus someone who maybe shouldn't? I mean, how do you determine who should not have that amount of capacity?
You don't.
Right? And calibers.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. No. I'm sorry.
I think you have to do. I think you have to do what, like, unfortunately, statistically is best. Like it's the same reason if you are Jeff Gordon, you can't drive 250 miles an hour on the road, right? The rules apply to him in the same way. This happens for everything. Everything in life that is restricted in this country is restricted for everybody, right? Like that's how laws work. I think it's worth it. Me personally. Oh, it says I have to remove you. You can come back up. I got to drop you. Come back up.
Oh, seriously?
Oh, wait, no. Oh, never mind.
What did I?
No, never mind. It's not. Never mind. It's not you. It was from somebody earlier. It said remove girl.
It happens all the time. Every live I get removed. That I don't know.
No, that was for girl dad. That was for text. That was weird. I didn't even think about that.
But no.
Yeah, go ahead. You can respond to that.
I was gonna say, but I agree with you. I think first of all, with all the people that are like championing the control side of things. Calibers, like, I'm glad you said caliber, right? Obviously, there's a difference, right? Because I have 3 different AM platforms, or I forget what I called them earlier. One is a 22 and one is a 308. These are very, very different machines, but just from the the ineligible, the people that don't know would look at them and say, oh my gosh, they're the same scary black rifle. They're not the same. So should we limit caliber, or should we limit should we limit caliber? Should we limit capacity? Should we limit rifles? Should we limit semi versus bolt action? I mean, versus revolver? Like, we start getting into the weeds of the nuance of like, okay, who should have what, and how do we determine that?
Well, like, you can look at like fully automatic weapons right now. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. I don't see like if you want to, I could accept the argument that somebody who wants to have a semi-auto, that they have to jump through a lot of hoops. They have to prove they're a responsible gun owner. You can still have it. I do think you should have to carry insurance, and I do think there should be liability if your pew falls into somebody else's hands and they commit a crime with it. Just I think responsible pew ownership I can live with, and I think a lot of people could live with that don't want pews at all. But it's like, it's the same thing all the time. It's like when we try and have the conversation of limiting it, they're like, oh, well, we'll never get rid of them, and so we can't do anything. We either get rid of them all or we have unlimited access. And, I mean, even Trump, his first time around, he banned bump stocks. For that reason, he didn't want things to be able to fire rapidly. That was the whole point. So, and nobody on the right really even, like, there's some people that were kind of mad, but nobody got really mad. Nobody didn't vote for him again because of it. It didn't really strip anybody's rights away to not have access to a bump stock.
Right. I mean, I think we agree on that last statement, right? I don't want anybody to have the rapid fire. And if you do have rapid fire, fully automatic, you should probably go through a few more hoops. And I would even go so far as to say that the average person, if you've got to take a driving test to drive a vehicle, which unalives more people every year. Let's call them AWs.
That's right.
Good point. Right. AWs, right? So they're not AR. They're AW-17s or whatever the people are calling them. They're fully semi-automatic, as the last I heard. I want people to be more, going back to what I can and cannot have. I can't have a grenade launcher. I can't have a cannon, right? I can't have a, well, maybe I could have a General Electric, the Terminator Gatling thing, but I mean, I don't want that, right? That's not what I'm advocating for. I'm advocating for the freedom to own what I own, because in my mind, I look at it as a more defensive use in society, right? So if bad things were to happen, I'm one of the first people that's going to jump up and use my tool to save the general civilian versus the other person that's going to use that to do the opposite, which is to hurt as many civilians as they can. So we have to come to a balance, right? Yeah. Legislating criminals is never going to stop criminals. It's only going to hurt me.
Right. I agree. I wonder, do you have kids? Don't
I
need
do
dogs?
have it. Yes, I do have a son. He's 20.
Would you trade all of your pew-pews for your son's life?
Absolutely.
And I think that that's most people in America, and I think that's what sucks about this conversation is that people don't seem to, like, when it's somebody else's kid, that we can brush it off. But when it's our kid, we would give anything. And it's just like, it's the selfishness of Americans, this like, I have to have this right. I mean, Charlie Kirk said it was good to have a few gun deaths every year so we can keep those rights. And I'm not trying to like bury that guy, but like he represents a lot of people in America that share that view. And that is an incredibly sad reality in this country, is that people are willing to sacrifice other people's kids.
Okay. I think you took that a little bit out of the context. So let me defend Charlie Kirk on that one, right? So the liberty and the freedoms that we have are going to come with a bit. And I don't think he was willing to put forth the sacrificial lamb. I don't think that's what his position was. What he recognized is that there are going to be some people that are lost, that are innocent, and that is tragic, including himself. For us to have the liberty to save ourselves in a situation that might be presented that we know that nobody wants. So therefore, I have the right to defend.
But those weren't his words, though. I just want to be clear. His words exactly were, I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our rights.
Okay. So I would have to go back and look at that just to read the quote. And then also, as an electrician, I look in the code book and I look at the book, and we all interpret it a little bit differently. The same can be said about the Bible or the Quran or the Torah.
Fair.
So interpretation of the word is also part of it, right? So I would have to go back and look at the context and look at its specific wording, because me personally, at this point in time, I don't think that's what his intention or his interpretation of those words meant. Whether or not that's what he meant, I can't be honest. I can't be the decider, right?
It's really hard for me to see another, it's hard for me to see another explanation for that. I'm going to be honest. I think that's exactly what he meant. That's pretty clear. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. He's calling it a deal. He's recognizing that keeping our Second Amendment, the deal that we're making there is a few gun deaths.
Okay. So let's say I agree with that premise, and I agree that that's what he was saying.
Okay.
I would still agree with that, and I don't know what he would say at this point in time, given his
unless those gun deaths were your kid, unless they were your son, right?
No, if I had the chance to protect my son, I would rather be able to do that, even at the threat of his loss.
I know, but somebody comes up to you today, and let's just say we can predict the future, and they say tomorrow your son will lose his life unless you give up your weapons. You wouldn't say I've got to keep it because it's worth it.
Well, see, and then you're changing the argument. Of course, if someone came to me and said that's the deal, I would give up everything I own for my boy, right? Period.
Yeah, but that's the reality in America, is that if we don't do that, if we have access to that, people are going to die. It may not be your child, but it's somebody else's.
Sure. But here's the thing, right? So it comes back to defensive use versus offensive use. There are 10 times as many defensive uses. So yes, 50,000 per year annually are unalived. But then there's the 250,000 and then the 500,000 that are saved. So why would I want to advocate for the extra unaliving if I was to give up my rights and everybody gave up their rights, and then all of a sudden it went from 50 to 300,000? I don't know if that's a good deal.
Well,
seems like a terrible deal.
I want to remind you that we are talking about AWs, right? Not all weapons. We're talking about AWs.
Okay. No. You have to go back to rifles, right? So rifles would be part of the classification. So if you're going to look at the statistics, it's actually the handheld version of the semi-pewdy pews that actually account for the majority of mass pewings and other unalivings. It's literally the hand.
Yeah, it's like I'm looking at it. It's out of the 10,000, it's I mean, it's overwhelming, 6,300 to 364.
Certainly. So look at the statistics of hammers. Hammers outdo rifles every year.
Yeah, but what we're talking about is the mass pew-pewings, right?
Certainly. So,
and those are overwhelmingly
that's
AWs, right?
No, I would disagree. I think they're semi-autos, and they're usually the handheld variety, and they just happen to be sometimes of the AR-50.
I said AW, types. Right? Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So no, actually, AWs represent a very small amount of the total.
Not of mass shootings.
Well, then we have to define mass, right? So, okay. So I had this discussion yesterday, right? There's mass pewings, and there's something else, right? I forget what the other term is, and they get switched out occasionally. So I still would have to look at the data, which I don't have, right? I'm in a hotel room, so I can't Google it as quick as yourself. I don't think that rifles, which also are included, the AWs, have that large impact. Right?
They are
handheld versions.
If you look at mass incidents, trying to use the words right, it is pretty close. It is pretty close. It is pretty close between AWs and hand pew-pews. Then, so for the mass, it brings it down, because remember, it was like 6,000 to 300. But now when we go to mass, like suddenly it's overrepresented. And if you look at school pew-pewings, then it's overwhelming. Okay. It's almost never a...
Okay, well, I mean, the only real thing, and perhaps I'm biased. I was at Virginia Tech when that happened. That went down. That was a handheld version. So there probably is some biases in my subconscious.
But it has a semi-auto function to it, right?
It does, and that's and again, we need to make that distinction, right? So AWs and SAs. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. That sounds terrible. So AWs and semi-automatics are very different. I mean, they're the same theoretically by their action, but they are not the same tool.
Right, and I think that if we took away that action, whether it be through bump stocks, through a banning of AWs, we will see significantly less mass pew-pewings. I don't know why anybody needs a semi-auto. It doesn't protect you in your home. I realize that people like them for sport, and I'm okay with people having them for sport. But in every other instance, like if you have a car, that's dangerous to other people. You have to carry insurance. You have to be licensed. You have to be a certain age. If you get caught using substances, you can lose that. If you're there's all sorts of ways that you can have that right taken away from you. And it seems like this one would be the easiest one. I don't know why we're the only country with this problem in the whole world. And we're the only country that has this level of pew-pews, and the only other country that's close to us is Mexico, and they get all their pew-pews from us. Like they actually have if I was Mexico, I'd be pissed because they have this problem because of us.
Okay, so I've seen different statistics per the ratio of the populations. Right, America doesn't rank at the number one of pews per population racially.
I think Mexico's number one.
Well, and there's some. I saw some other European countries, right? I have to go back, and I wish I had this data at my fingertips so I could say, okay, here's the data that I've seen. And again, statistics can lie; they can be manipulated. I'm not saying that I or you are doing that. I'm just saying that you and I are looking at very different numbers. So the numbers that I'm giving, or have been given, contradict the numbers that you're giving me. So let's bring it back to something better, right? So what do we do with the solution? Like, how do we come up with solutions to what we have right now?
You should reintroduce the assault weapons ban. It worked.
Okay. Even if that was to happen, right? Even then, the people that already had them didn't have to give them up, right? There was no buyback. There was no Australian style, just smash and burn of the AWs, right? That never happened, even during the assault weapons ban. Okay, so therefore, you still have 200 million of them floating around the public. Legislation's great. What legislation doesn't do is stop the criminality from doing criminal things. Ever. It doesn't stop. They're gonna do it regardless.
But the numbers went down. Like I understand what you're saying. You can never stop it totally, But you can look at the 10-year window from, was it 94 to 2004, and you can see that in 93, 92, 91, there were like 4 or 5 mass shooting events, and then it was down to like 1 or 2 a year. Even one year we had 0. And as soon as it expired in 2004, 2005, we saw a massive uptick, and now we're getting like 18 a day. Or I mean, a year, excuse me, a day, excuse me, a year, sorry.
I mean, I really wish I could go back and look at the statistics that I saw during that time period, because what I've been fed from my media sources is that it didn't really have much effect whatsoever. So,
well, all you have to do is go look at by year. You can go look at mass pewings by year, and you can see that it was effective. It wasn't perfect. We still had problems. There's still going to be ways around it. We're still going to have problems now because we are more polarized now than ever. And I think that you can directly tie that to Donald Trump. But you're still going to have problems. But that helps. That's a step in the right direction. It would at least show that people are willing to do something. Right now, we literally, every time we have a mass pewing, we do nothing. Charlie Kirk was shot, and we're rewriting the laws. We're labeling leftists as terrorist organizations because of Charlie Kirk. On the same day, a legitimate, like, right-winger shot up a school in Colorado. And we're doing nothing about that. But we're going to change all of our speech laws, and we're going to define people as terrorist organizations because somebody that you guys really liked was the victim. And we're not even going to go after the thing that, like, that kid could do nothing to Charlie Kirk without access to that weapon. We're not even going to address it. We're just going to try and criminalize the left.
Oh, okay, RTP, I'm sorry, but you just spiraled out and poked a lot of different holes and a lot of different things.
Fair enough.
When that's not what we're talking about, right? You did kind of go off the rails a little bit there.
No, I'm talking about the response.
I agree with you.
I'm talking about our willingness to do anything ever. Every time there is a mass tragedy or a pewing event, the left comes out and says we need to do something, and the right says it's not the weapon, it's the people, thoughts and prayers. And 5 years later, we haven't done anything. But I was just trying to show the difference here. When something bad happened to Charlie Kirk, we're willing to do like fascism. We're literally willing to jail political opponents. We're willing to label people as domestic terrorist groups. Look at how much action they're taking because Charlie Kirk passed away. What do you think that says to the parents who have lost kids in these events? What about the people who just like they've lost a loved one to gun violence? Why don't they matter? Why does Charlie Kirk matter so much that we are willing to eliminate the First Amendment?
I don't mean to laugh, but okay, I see what you're saying, and I see what you're trying to, like the corner you're trying to put me into. So I'm not talking about the First Amendment rights, and we can certainly pivot into that next.
No, it's about the government's willingness to do something. They never do anything after school pewings. They're doing something, and they're so afraid to infringe on Second Amendment that they're going to infringe on the First Amendment instead. I understand that like it's a different amendment. I'm just talking about action. We never do anything to fix this problem, and now they're saying the problem is that these fucking liberals get to talk too much.
Okay, I'm not even gonna devolve into all that, right? I'm just gonna come back to the original thing, the action. What do you think the action could be that would actually make a significant difference in all the things that you've just espoused? I don't think taking weapons away or pews away from law-abiding people is going to do anything.
Fine, universal health care, universal mental health care.
Hey, I agree again. So, we're coming back to a place that we can agree. The HIPAA laws are the HIPAA laws. I think certain people should not have those items.
And they should have access to mental health care, right?
Yes. See, we agree again.
We do, but would your side, if I bring this up to the Republican side, they're going to say, that's socialism. Sorry, we can't have that either. It's more important that we allow, kids to keep dying than have universal health care because that's socialism.
Well, I can only speak for me, right? So my side is very broad, right? So I started as a liberal, and then I went center, and then I went center right, and then I'm a different place as of last Wednesday. So how
does that shift you? How does what happened last Wednesday shift your view on anything?
Well, because I believe that the people that unalived him were
one person
radicalized.
One person. And what were they radicalized by?
Okay, let me bring that back because you said my people. I'm going to say his people. So therefore, now we have two sides.
No, there's one person.
Individuals.
It's an individual. It's one guy.
I'm also one person. I believe he was radicalized in his beliefs, and whatever those beliefs are, that's fine. That's him as an individual. I still don't label everybody on this side or that side as the whole, because that would be intellectually just that would just be small-minded, right? I can't say that one person represents an entire group, whether you're on the left or the right.
Then why did it move you more? Then why did it change your position? You said I'm in a different place now.
Okay, because I believe now, because I come on places like this where I try to discuss topics, where I'm trying to have a conversation, and there are certain groups on the extremes, and I would say that's on the left and the right.
Agreed.
That I can't speak with them anymore because their ideas are so far gone that I can't find common ground anymore. So from that instance, from me being center right, when I discovered that there's people that I tried to befriend and show the olive branch to, that showed me nothing but like dancing on my beliefs, if I was to be pewed, I have nothing left to say to them.
Yeah, but why does that move your position? I don't understand it. So the fringe left made you what? Where did you move? What?
So, I'm going to say that one more time. So yes, the extreme, that side, took my beliefs and put me more solid on this side because I don't agree with anything that they say. So therefore, I just kind of went.
So you're taking the words of people, and you're saying because the words of random strangers on the internet are not nice, you're more entrenched in your position?
I didn't say the internet. I said in general. But yeah, the people on the street, the people that are like the people that celebrate. Right?
You're not on the street talking to people. Come on.
Oh, come on, dude. Look at me. You don't think I'm out there talking to people, man?
No.
I'm an extrovert. Okay, that's fine. You can say that. I'm just going to tell you my objective experience. But I do talk to a lot of people. I talk to all different types of people. I have different people in my circle. So yeah, I like to talk to people, and therefore, the people that are very extreme on either side, I don't want to associate with.
Okay, but I still don't understand how that moved your position.
Because I believe that the side that we're dancing on the grave represents a certain fraction or faction of the side that I was like mildly disagreeing with, and since that is over there, it moved me closer to disliking them.
There were people on the right that were celebrating it too. The far right. There are people on the far right that also hate Charlie Kirk.
I haven't seen it.
I think this is illustrative of a problem that we have in this country and why we can never, ever, ever come together. This is crazy. Look, I wasn't there. That's my hometown. I was born and raised in the same cult that kid was raised in. Same exact situation. I went to that college. Born and raised. I know those people. I know the cult that they're in. Even the fact that you think this person was on the left is based on nothing. There is no evidence that ties him to the left. And we can walk through it if you want. We can walk through it, but I'm like, you have to be...
No, hold on a second. Wait, hold on. Somebody got a galaxy. Matt, I'm sorry, bro.
Matt, let's do it again.
But
listen,
yeah.
It was good meeting you, dude.
You
Good
too.
talk.
Yeah.
Love
Thanks,
you, brother.
bro. See ya.
Stay safe, Matt.
I was trying to wait for Jay to finish his sentence, Admir. God damn.
No, that's okay. That's
Well,
fair. The guest, I don't get the last word. Guest always gets the last word. That's fair.
Well,
And y'all, if I get grounded by Jen for putting my prompt up too soon, y'all need to back me up in the chat because y'all were yelling at me in the chat to put it up. Just FYI. All right, Andrew's up next. Hey, Andrew.
Well, hey, I just want to say first off, Amanda is the most extremist person I've ever met.
Oh, God, no.
I'm kidding. I've known her since Nam, so we're good.
oh, wow.
Let's
Well,
not do
Andrew,
that here.
welcome, bro. No, I know.
Amanda's
Andrew,
older than I
welcome.
thought. I didn't know you were that old, Amanda.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that was her prime. But no, I'm totally being sarcastic. She's an amazing human being. Wait, you can't throw a galaxy yet already.
Yeah, it doesn't count. But thank you for whoever who sent that. Who did send that? Thank you.
Thanks for the donation.
Yeah, there's nobody. Yeah, we got to give him at least 5 minutes,
No.
guys. 5 minutes before you can do that.
I'll keep it in my pocket.
Okay.
No, and Amanda actually knows me. I'm pretty open-minded on a lot of different things, and I've enjoyed what y'all are talking about and actually having civil discord, so to speak, about different topics.
I appreciate
So
that.
fire away.
Yeah, what did you want to talk about?
I just continuing what you were discussing. I enjoy so there were several different things. I agreed with some, disagreed with some. I like the depth of it versus just don't take away my gun or my pews. You don't get to have those either or side. But no, I absolutely whatever you were talking about previously. Continue. I would love to just
Well, let me ask you, because I
learn more too.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the topic I want to go on, but let me see if I can bridge this. My
Yeah.
biggest concern in this country right now is that we legitimately have an authoritarian government, and it seems to be that a lot of people either are just okay with that, or they're not ready to admit that. And even things like pew-pews. Like, does anybody think for 1 second that Donald Trump wouldn't take away the pew-pews from the left? Do you think he would?
If he had the ability to,
Yeah.
it was solely in his hands, possibly, but he could never do that, obviously.
Well, let me lay out a scenario that easily could happen and that I think they're actually planning right now. Donald Trump is openly every day talking about going to Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York and Baltimore, right? We recognize that he wants to take the National Guard in there. We're on the same page there.
Yeah, say that again. I'm sorry. I was getting my Taco Bell order.
Oh, good.
I apologize.
Oh, good. Would you agree that Donald Trump is talking about like taking the National Guard and sending it into Chicago and Baltimore, Los Angeles, San Francisco? Would you agree that he's talking about that?
Essentially martial law at that point.
Okay. And what happens in martial law? Can then he act as a dictator?
Per se, he could. I don't think he would ever actually do that.
Why? Why do you
Not
think?
the dictator portion. I'm saying send it into these bigger, quote unquote, blue cities.
Why don't you think he would
The
do
reason I
that?
don't believe, I think he has too many people around him that would tell him to not do that.
Could you name one
I mean,
person?
that
Could
may
you
seem,
name one Republican right now who isn't cheerleading him going into those cities?
I think as a collective, I think they would sit down at a round table and say, hey, this is going to, first off, make you hated even more than certain group of people do hate you.
But as a
I mean, I
collective,
think it's just,
as a collective, they're saying do it. I'm watching them. I'm watching elected Republicans. I'm watching House Republicans and House Senate and everybody in the administration saying do it. As Stephen Miller's on TV every single day saying this is what we are going to do. Trump is saying this is what we are going to do, and almost every Republican is cheerleading it. Not
I
you,
would
not
not
you
support that
guys.
personally. No,
Yeah.
I know. I would not personally support that. I would speak out about that even.
Why haven't you spoken out yet?
Well, I'm saying if he did that, I
Well,
would, in my opinion, I would say, hey, I do not agree with this.
but it wouldn't matter, right?
This is not right.
It wouldn't matter because
It wouldn't make a difference. It's going to fall on deaf ears to
No,
anybody.
I mean,
Either way.
the reason it doesn't matter is in order for Donald Trump to take the National Guard functionally, just to take them and take over control of the National Guard in Chicago, he has to declare a state of emergency to do that. So before the troops even hit the ground, he's declared a state of emergency, and now he has wartime powers, and then he can just roll into martial law. This is in Project 2025. They said they were going to do this. Everything that's happening right now, they said they were going to do it. And what's really difficult to explain is that people don't recognize that they're using what happened to Charlie Kirk as a way to further their agenda. Within an hours, while I was still live, I was live when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And within a couple hours, Donald Trump was speaking in front of the country saying that this is the left. They did this. We didn't know we didn't even know the name or the motives of the shooter. And he said this is the left. We're at war. Every Republican was saying we're at war. We've now got people on Fox News advocating that people who they believe are mentally incapacitated, which is how they view trans people, should either be institutionalized or given a lethal injection. I legitimately don't think there's anybody outside of like Thomas Massey and Tom Tillis who are going to say no to this, but it doesn't matter. If Trump gets these emergency powers, it's game over. And they said they were going to do this. And we begged you guys to read Project 2025. And they kept telling you guys, not you, but the people on the right kept saying, that's bullshit. We've never even heard of it. But all the people that wrote Project 2025 are in this administration, and they're doing it. Project 2025 is a roadmap to authoritarianism, to Christian authoritarianism. They don't want democracy. They want it over. You can see they're doing it in every Republican state. They're stripping Democrats' rights to vote away. They're stripping or rights to representation, not rights to vote. Their rights to representation. I get what you're saying. Yeah, they're doing it. This is step by step what Mussolini did. Step by step what Hitler did. Step by step what Putin did. Step by step what Erdogan did. Every fascist dictator in history followed this exact playbook. And now they're saying that Charlie Kirk died because we're saying the word fascist. They want to ban a word and they want to criminalize this word, and they want to do it because it's accurate. It's too close to home now.
Sorry, I was reading the comments.
You're good.
First off, I do not believe.
Wait, hold on. We do have a rule here that we don't respond to the comments, so we can have an open dialogue. Go ahead this time if you want to respond to something, but then after that, cool.
No, you're good. You're good. No, for me personally, I did hear, hey, he was on the left. He's the left. The assassin. I didn't follow that narrative. I was like, hey, I'm a very, very big believer everybody is innocent until proven guilty by a group of their peers. And as horrible as a thing as this young man did, this was evil. It wasn't left, right, zebra. It doesn't matter. It was evil. And for me personally, like, he deserves a day in court. He deserves to be convicted if everything comes out, obviously. But no, I did not believe he was a lefty. He was super liberal, anything like that. And first I was actually kind of concerned that I was like, whoa, what?
Jay, time is up, FYI.
Yeah, go ahead, keep going. We'll give him another minute.
But with his parents being registered Republicans, I'm like, okay, something's weird. Something doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if he is left or right. We will never know, honestly, because he has no registration as a voter. But to me, it doesn't make a difference if he was left, right, whatever. It was premeditated. It was a bad decision, an evil decision. A man died, father, husband. That's the way I look at it.
I appreciate all of that, and I know that people have opinions on this, but like with all due respect to Charlie Kirk and his legacy, whatever, I don't fucking care now because they're doing the fascism. Like if you had to get like what group is the opposite of the fascists, what group is that?
I mean, I see what you're saying there.
Anti-fascist, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
and Trump just labeled them terrorists today. That allows him to lock up his political opponents by designating them as terrorists. That strips away their rights. And what is Antifa? They haven't even defined Antifa. If you look at 1930s Germany and Mustache Man, the first thing you had something called the Reichstag fire.
A group of people throw them in.
They took one instance, the Reichstag fire, which in the difference there is that was like planned. They did it like they staged this event, and they used the Reichstag fire as a way to seize authoritarian control. They used a single instance and they seized authoritarian control, and they all in unison stood up and said, these are the bad people. And I don't know if everybody realizes this, but in 1930s Germany, it wasn't just Jewish people. It wasn't like they locked up the LGBTQ community. Those people went to concentration camps, and they locked up their political opponents. And until I think like 1945, those people were still sitting in concentration camps. And when Mustache Man realized that he was about to lose the war, he gave the order, and they eliminated all of their political opponents. There is there's no wiggle room right now between this period of what Trump is doing and this same period of what Mustache Man was doing.
Yeah, so for me personally, I believe every single American deserves the same equal rights.
I know. I'm not asking
Absolutely.
you.
I'm saying
I'm not
no,
asking
I
you
know.
personally.
Well,
I'm asking you to understand that what's happening in this country right now is that we are under a fascist takeover, and like I just don't care about personal. I need Republicans and people who voted for Trump or independents or whatever. I need you guys to recognize what's happening and not be the ones who stand by and watch it happen. The only chance we have to stop what Donald Trump is planning to do, obviously planning to do, like you said, Republicans have to stand up, and none of the elected leaders are, and they won't until they get pressure from you. And all of you have to do this. If you guys don't stand up for us, we're all going to jail.
If I see somebody I'm going to say civil liberties being taken away in this situation, I have phone numbers for people. I mean, my brother died for this country, for your rights, for my rights,
brother.
For Amanda's
Everybody,
rights, for Admir's rights.
everybody,
it doesn't matter.
Everybody that is considered Antifa just got their rights taken away today. Whoever he's going to label Antifa,
I'm aware of that. I will look.
If you designate somebody a domestic terrorist group, they lose rights.
I didn't realize they today labeled that or whatever. I just got off work. I will go do some looking into that, but my time is up. I don't want to overstay.
That was good talking.
But no,
to you.
I appreciate. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. You any last words? You can have the last word.
I just want, even if I don't agree with you, I always tell people, I don't care. Everybody's welcome at my table. Just don't tell me what to eat. And I truly mean that. Like, I have friends that are liberal, super hard right, super hard left. I don't care. I will stand up for you because you're an American. That's it.
Yeah, check
End
that
of story.
Check that out, and you can DM me. But I want to know your thoughts on that because it feels.
Yeah, I'll follow you actually right now.
All right, we'll see it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Andrew.
All right, Mideast is next. Hey.
Mideast is friendly, isn't he?
No, I'm conservative.
No.
Oh, you are? Oh, I apologize. I thought for some reason you were friendly. My bad.
No, it's all good. I'm more of a centered leftist. To be honest with you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think you've watched enough because I've seen you down in the comments and all of this. I think you know how this works. So I'm gonna go on mute, and then you and RTP talk.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Thank you.
What's up, man?
Yeah, what's
on your
going
mind?
on, man? How you doing?
Doing great.
Not much. Not much. So just curious, just so I understand your background a little bit, because this is my first time meeting you.
Sure.
Do you have family that you've lost as a result of fascism?
No.
I do.
Okay. Where did you where were they at?
Vast troves of family and friends. I would say to family.
Where at?
Nazi Germany, specifically.
Grandparents. How old are you?
Yeah, 40.
Okay, so you're saying like people in your lineage. Sorry, that when you asked that question, exactly. I thought you meant like recently. No, I don't have any heritage coming from that. My heritage is definitely on the wrong side of that war.
Yeah. No, and when I say friends, I mean like friends of family, friends that have experienced it, the family members have been lost.
Okay.
People that came over in troves as a result of what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to specify.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think that you have a different take on what fascism is and what it looks like and how it starts.
Okay.
And I would just say that there's a reference when it comes to the Jewish people, specifically as the canaries in the coal mine.
Mhm.
Do you know what that term means, canary in the coal mine?
The canary, I think the canary is like they would sound the alarm when like CO2 got too high or something. I think it was CO2. Is that what it was? Yeah.
Exactly. So they refer to the Jewish people as the canary in the coal mine.
Okay.
Because they typically are the sounding board for when G-sides happen,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
When things start to look like it, when they start getting bad. So yeah, my point to you would be that you've seen in the last election cycle a lot of Jews that predominantly voted left turn to the other party and vote right. A lot of my family did. A lot of them stayed entrenched in the left. But what happened in Germany leading up to World War II was conversations like this, looking for a side to blame, right? The back and forth, the political violence that started getting out of control, where you started seeing people weaponizing speech, taking away rights to own pew-pews. So far in this conversation, you've talked about, starting to restrict rights. That's a a slippery slope, right?
Well,
It starts to lead to
no,
something.
because I don't know, because I think that the Second Amendment is already limited, and so it's up to the American people to determine like how many limits there are on the Second Amendment. But like if there's anybody taking away rights right now, that would be the current administration, direct attacks on the First Amendment over and over and over again. There's never been an assault on the First Amendment like this ever. So it's not ever.
So-
excuse me, in my lifetime.
Yeah. So what attacks on the First Amendment? I'm just curious.
The attacks on news organizations, suing the Wall Street Journal for refusing to say Gulf of America.
Okay. Is that a can you explain to me how that violates the First Amendment?
The First Amendment is your protection of speech against the government. And if the government is compelling that speech, it is anti-First Amendment. It is the government telling you that you have to say certain words or else.
Okay, so the government sued news organizations
Trump
specifically?
Trump did, yeah. Trump has sued the Wall Street Journal. He sued ABC. He sued CBS. He has sued every left-wing major news organization out there. They just got Jimmy Kimmel fired. They got Well, I don't know if they got Stephen Colbert fired. I'm not necessarily willing to say that. I think there was pressure, but he was losing them money. So there's like
So he
there's
did
an
that
out.
personally, or he used the government funds to do that? The government went after him.
Well, so the FCC chair threatened ABC, which is the government weaponizing and saying, if you don't say the right things, we're coming after you. If you don't do and say the right things, we're on our way.
So what specifically did they say?
We played it earlier, but that's essentially what Brendan Carr said, is that like in order to do this, somebody's going to have to file a complaint. But if ABC doesn't do the right thing, they're going to hear from us.
Okay.
Because Jimmy Kimmel told a joke.
Right.
Yeah, that's
the First Amendment. Yeah, the First Amendment specifically, right? It you're not free from consequences of said speech, right?
Unless those consequences are from the government, right? So like if Jimmy Kimmel got fired because there was a bunch of pressure from right-wingers that were just like hammering ABC, or even if just the executives are like, I don't like that joke was in poor taste, we're firing him. That's not a First Amendment violation. I mean, he might be able to sue, and they might make a case for it. But this is the government. The government is not allowed to compel your speech, especially jokes.
Yeah, I'd be curious about the context of it, because like so far, and not to say this is like a slight against you or your previous conversation, but I was listening for a while in the chat with the gentleman that was up here first, and you kind of took the Charlie Kirk quote out of context when it came to the Second Amendment. You didn't talk about the rest of what was said when it came to should we start banning cars in this country because of the auto fatalities that are a result of car accidents every single
We
year?
do ban cars in this country, and we have speed limits, and we have licenses, and we have insurance. It's heavily regulated. That's a stupid comparison. But either
The
way,
Second Amendment is already heavily regulated based off of what you said.
but
You can't own a machine gun anymore.
Right.
I'm sorry, machine pew. Yeah.
Right, I agree. It is we agree. Yeah. It's not unlimited. So when he says, in order to keep our Second Amendment right, it's worth it to lose a few lives. How could I be taking that out of context?
Well, you're taking it out of context in the sense that when you're looking at it as a whole, right? It's the Second Amendment was put in there to protect you from what? A tyrannical government that can turn
it doesn't.
fascist.
No, that's just an opinion. It doesn't say that.
That's not an opinion. That's what it's very clear what it says.
No, it doesn't say anything about a tyrannical government in the Second Amendment.
It's the intended purpase of the Second Amendment.
So now you're saying that's it's an opinion. Not everybody shared that opinion.
Read the Second Amendment.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Yeah, to a free state. What does that imply?
A free state?
A free state, free to do what?
I don't know. They didn't define it. You said it.
What would you think that? Hold on. What would you think they meant by that?
Well, see, now that's what I'm saying. I said that's your opinion. We can have a difference of opinion on what they mean by free state.
I'm just curious what your opinion is by a free state. What would you take that to mean?
Well, because they're talking about a militia, it sounds to me like what they're talking about is defending your state against other militaries, which ironically did happen. There's some people that came from boats across the sea, and they were like, hey, fuck you. And they're like, fuck you. And then we had this Revolutionary War thing. Seems like that's what they were preparing for. That's why they had well-regulated militias. A well-regulated militia wouldn't protect you against the state because that is the state. The militia was run by the
free state. Who can hold on a second. So you have a federal government, right? And you have states that have laws that they pass, right? That they're supposed to be able to succeed from the country if they wanted to disagree, to pass laws.
All right, hold on. I gotta interject, Middies. I gotta interject, bro. Galaxy's like stone for you, so I gotta let you go, man.
Wait, what happened?
Hold on, Admir. I did not have it up on my backdrop. So I was going to say, no, I did not. Somebody sent it too soon. Would you want to do a 5-minute countdown, Jay?
Yeah. Let's keep going. Let's know. I think this is a good conversation. I think we have a solid disagreement here. So I want to keep going with this.
Okay. Let's wait until I do have it on my backdrop, y'all. Just FYI. But I'll keep that one in my pocket.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah, the free state in general, right? We have the Electoral College. We have all of these things that are trying to make sure that every voice gets to be heard.
No, the state is referencing the government. So if these militias are run by the government, they're by definition they are the government. They're not. How could the government protect you against the government? These militias were set up to protect them against other people. The freedom of the only chance you would not be a free state is if somebody else was in control, some other government or some other entity was in control.
So a free state. So I guess my opinion on that would be then, or the way that at least I would interpret it, is that when it comes to a free state, that people are actually able to enjoy all of the liberties that are granted to them as an American.
Right. Which is why I'm very concerned, going backwards, of this administration taking the people's free speech away.
So who would prevent Americans from having those freedoms? Free
speech?
I'm talking about the Second Amendment. We're still in the Second Amendment.
Who would protect the Second Amendment?
That's not
courts.
what I'm saying. Who would protect the Second Amendment? What I'm saying is who would protect the liberties, the freedoms of those people in a free state? Who would they be need to be protected from, right? It'd be the government. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be Russia. It wouldn't be Canada.
No.
It wouldn't be Mexico.
No, the well-regulated militia. That's what is that's the protection. The well-regulated militia. Like, read it. A well-regulated militia. Hold on, let me finish. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. They're talking about the government, the sovereign. They're talking about the sovereignty of the state.
Yeah, they're talking about the government.
Yeah, you're saying the government is going to
protecting you from the government.
No. They are the government. The well-regulated militia is the government. It's the military.
That's no.
Yes.
It's
each state had a militia.
It's to protect you from the government.
No, that doesn't make any sense. It is the government.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If Donald Trump ends up being a fascist, which
he is,
I hate when people use that term because he's not.
Unequivocally.
He's not.
Well, by every
unequivocally not.
Well, if I go by the 7 tenets of fascism or the 14 tenets of fascism, he literally checks every single box.
I disagree with you.
And it's alarming coming from somebody who has you have ancestry from Germany. It is alarming that you can't see the parallels. For example, the parallel of America First, the phrase America First. They didn't come up with that. Who was the first?
I don't see them coming after the Second Amendment.
Who was
right
the
now.
first? They're going after
the left doing.
They're going after the First Amendment. But who was the America First? Was a slogan in which party in America?
It would be from the Republican Party.
Wrong.
Right?
No. The American Nazi Party.
Oh, you're talking about like globally.
No, I'm talking about in the United States in the 30s when Mustache Man was doing his thing.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So they take the phrase from they borrow the phrase. Then let's talk about the parallels. When Schmittler rose to power, before he rose to power by being named the chancellor, what was his first attempt to get power? What did he do?
Well, yeah, he banned free speech. He put out
before he was in power.
Oh,
before he was the fascist leader of Germany. How did he try and obtain power the first go around?
Oh,
are you familiar with the beer hall putsch?
The beer hall putsch? No, I'm not familiar with that.
So in Germany, the legislators actually met at the beer hall, and Schmittler, who was elected at the time, took his group, the Schmatzi Party, and they stormed Congress violently, and they were all thrown in jail, right? And then he went to jail, and that's where he wrote.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
yeah.
And then I got you. And then because of pressure, and in the name of unity. And in the name of moving on, they let all these people out of jail, including Schmittler, and he went right back into the government with anger and took over. And then
he also took out a playbook from the Goebbels playbook to get into power as well, and
Goebbels
do the things that he wanted.
Goebbels was his right hand man. It's just like Stephen Miller.
Yeah. No, I get that aspect of it.
So Goebbels,
I think he saw something that was successful and took advantage of it. The problem is
that's what Trump's doing.
He ended up being.
Let's go back. Wait, I want to go back real quick. I want to go back because I want to draw the parallels. Did Trump's people storm the Capitol? Did they try and overthrow our government?
Did they try to overthrow our government? No, they didn't violently go and storm the Capitol.
Yes, they did.
A bunch of people went into the Capitol.
There was
very little violence. There was more violence, I could say, from Antifa.
Wait, hold on.
The rise of BLM.
Wait, hold on.
I mean, that's violence.
Wait, hold on.
Personally.
No, beating police officers with flagpoles is not violence.
I don't see the parallels between what happened with BLM in this country.
We're not talking about BLM or Antifa right now, because what BLM and Antifa didn't do is attack our government. Right? So we're talking about attacks on the government by a political party. So Trump's people went and they attacked the government, and they all got found guilty, almost all of them, including for seditious conspiracy. There was an actual plan to overthrow the government. It was called Operation Winter. What is it? Operation Winter. fuck, I forget. It had winter storm. No, what was it? I can't remember what it was. Somebody, if anybody knows in there, there's an actual plan. They were convicted. There was a plan to take over the government. It didn't work out. And then Trump comes back in and he literally ran on vengeance and vindication. And now he's in office and it has been an all-out assault on democracy since he got in. They're following Project 2025. It's like 60% of the way done. And they are following Schmittler's playbook. They're othering a group of people. There's a common group of people that they're sharing, the LGBTQ community and the wokesters, or in Germany as they called them, the metropolitan Jews who came in and that they didn't worship Christ, and they were too sexually open, and they were making everybody into sexual perverts. And so they demonized these groups of people and then put them in concentration camps. Donald Trump demonized immigrants, throws them in concentration camps. Now we're demonizing trans people, and we're talking openly about institutionalizing trans people. And now, today, they are saying that anti-fascists are a terrorist group. How's this
I
different?
would consider Antifa a Schmerist organization.
Why?
Yes.
What's the terrorism they did?
I mean, you can go back to any of the BLM riots that took place
Let's
participated in.
Let's have some examples.
Well, you could look at Ferguson, for example.
What were the acts of terror that Antifa did in Ferguson?
I mean, I don't know if it was actually specifically in Ferguson, but it was around the country, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I don't know of any, and I checked, I don't know of any Antifa presence in Ferguson. Antifa rose kind of after...
Was it George Floyd?
George Floyd.
What I'm thinking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, George Floyd.
Okay, so what did they do? What was the terrorism that they committed?
Well, I mean, we saw what happened with that security guard specifically that had to go and defend the journalists from the Antifa protesters that were...
How do you know
how do you know
they were Antifa and not BLM?
Well, I mean, I would say it's pretty obvious here.
What's the obvious difference between Antifa and BLM?
I don't think they all walk around with like Antifa written on their shirts, right?
No. In fact, it's not even it's not even an organized group. So how could they be a terrorist group without any organization?
Then how could Antifa be a thing that we talk about?
It's just what people call. It's like calling yourself a conservative. Antifa means anti-fascist. They are opposed to fascism.
Okay, so who's organizing this movement?
There isn't a movement. It's just people who say they're anti-fascist. You could label me Antifa because I'm anti-fascist.
Right.
Right. See the problem here? It's a group of people that nobody can define. Nobody can tell me who the leaders are of this group. Nobody can tell me how this group is organized. And yet somehow our president has decided, without any evidence, to label them a terrorist group. And because it's so loosely tied together, and looking at this government's approach already to free speech, it seems an awful lot like they might start saying, yeah, anybody who criticizes Israel is Antifa.
What? Where did Israel come into play?
Well, I'm basing that on the actions of this government already, where they've silenced speech of people who were critical of Israel.
Who have they silenced?
There was that journalist. They lost. They've been court ordered. It's gone through the courts. I don't remember her name, and I don't remember what college.
This is a weird shift in conversation.
Why is this a weird shift? They're locking up people for speech, man.
Yeah, no, like this is like such a big reach. Who are they locking up?
I just told you there was a journalist who wrote an article critical of Israel, and she was here on, I don't know what, I think on a student visa, and they locked her up. And Marco Rubio, you can go watch it. Marco Rubio's like, I absolutely have the right to throw, to detain and put these people in whatever, I guess he doesn't call it a concentration camp, in a detainment facility if their speech is anti-American or if it puts Americans in jeopardy. Kidnapped her right off the street. She just got out. She was in jail for like 8 months.
So what did she say specifically?
She wrote an article that was critical of Israel, which is fair. Like Israel's committing a genocide. You can say that the government and even if
they're not
and
committing
even, well, and
a
even
genocide.
And even if the government,
but they're not committing a genocide.
They absolutely are, and that's silly.
Okay, please explain to me how they're committing a genocide.
There's 300,000 people that have been unalived.
300,000 people?
Yep.
Based off of what numbers? Because even the Hamas Ministry of Health, the Gaza Ministry of Health, which is run by Hamas, they're not even saying that. So where are you getting 300,000?
The number? Are you thinking of the number that's like 60,000?
The number that the Gaza Ministry of Health has put out.
It's like 60,000, right?
Correct.
Yeah, those are people that were combatants, or people that were in acts of war. But that doesn't include all the people that.
That's just blatant misinformation.
There was
They
an
don't
or.
include. They don't include. No.
There was an or.
No.
It was combatants or people who were unalived in acts of war. What I'm saying is that number does not include the forced starvation and the people who have died of starvation and disease.
That's not, again, that's misinformation. That's not even accurate. It's not even remotely accurate. What organization is putting out 300,000? Where are you getting that number? Let's start there.
Well, the ranges are anywhere between like 250 and 300,000 people. I can pull them up.
Based off of
But either way, before we get into that argument, because I don't want to shift arguments.
No, I mean, you just put out blatant misinformation.
Listen, excuse me. We'll go back. I told you we'll go back to that argument. But before we go to that,
let me just explain to you why it's important.
Excuse me. I promise you we will go back to that argument. I want to finish the conversation we were having, and then we'll go back to it.
Okay.
If somebody in America says that Israel is committing a G-cide, should that person be put in jail?
I mean, that's a pretty, I would say, libelous statement.
Should that person be
inflammatory? But no, I don't think they should be put in jail. No, I would.
Okay, so we probably agree that this administration is willing to silence free speech, right?
I don't know. I don't know the context of the quote. I have no idea who this person is. If they were an active U.S. citizen.
Well, our courts already ruled on it.
Put in jail? Were they?
You think the courts are wrong?
Was it somebody that was jailed or no?
Yes, and the courts said they had no authority to detain this person or jail this person.
Okay, so then the American justice system won. That's amazing.
I know, but the argument I was making though is that this administration has no problem jailing people for free speech.
Okay, well, this is more important to me now because I have to say this because I think that was really, really disingenuous.
I don't care
what you did.
I don't care.
And I know you don't care because right now, if you look up the statistics, about 70%, close to 70% of all faith-based attacks are attributed to 2% of America's population. And it's because of false information like that you just spewed out. You have no idea where you got 300,000 from.
No, I can pull it up.
That's not a number that comes from any legitimate source.
I'll give
disgusting.
I'll give you the source right here. Former Israeli army commander Herzi Halevi has confirmed that more than 200 Palestinians have been killed or injured in the war in Gaza, and that an Israeli army officer is not.
That's not a source.
Okay,
a politically motivated person.
The chief of staff, the chief of staff in the IDF is politically motivated.
Let's see the quote. Let's see where it's from. Just go ahead and let's see it.
I just told you who it was from. It's Herzi Halevi, who was he stepped down as the chief of staff in March from the IDF. The retired general told a community. I'll read it. The retired general told a community meeting in southern Israel earlier this week that more than 10% of Gaza's 2.2 million population had been killed or injured, more than 200,000 people. That estimate is notable as it is close to the current figures provided by Gaza's health ministry, which is Israeli officials have frequently dismissed as age group propaganda. So the current official toll is 64,000. We're missing 163,000 that are unaccounted for. And you can't get in and out.
Well, no, you can get in and out of Gaza. You just have to pay a
The
lot of
the
money
people. Oh yeah,
to
yeah. If you're
Egypt to
rich,
get out. Yeah,
yeah. If you're rich,
yeah, exactly.
So moving people into
Which, by the
concentration,
way, Egypt's doing a
moving
war crime.
moving
which is
people into
incredibly
concentration
amazing.
camps, herding them like cattle, sniping children, double tapping,
Who's
double.
moving them into concentration camps?
But all of Gaza is essentially an outdoor. Like, look when they go get aid. Look when they go get aid.
That's not a concentration camp. The Holocaust inversion from you is disgusting, sir.
Sir, a concentration camp doesn't only exist in Germany. There are lots of different concentration camps. We had them here
Japanese
too.
internment camps. I know.
Yeah,
we've got
them right
concentration
now.
camps throughout history.
We've got them right
they're
now.
Very unique. There's a very unique part of concentration camps that you appear to be missing.
Okay.
It's not an open air place where people can freely move.
You can't freely move.
They can.
You can't freely move because when people
freely move through Gaza.
When people freely
it's
move,
a war
they're
zone
being assassinated.
where Egypt has closed off its borders and will not let people leave unless they pay them a lot of money.
Why do they want to leave?
They're committing a war crime.
Why do they
want to
leave? Oh, shut the fuck up. All right, we can get rid of the Zionists now. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Benjamin,
let me
hold
on.
No,
Jay, I'm sorry.
No.
All right. Jay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I couldn't get off a fucking mute fast enough. I don't even know.
Sorry.
Listen, as soon as I saw his goddamn picture, it wouldn't let me talk, man. Fuck that.
We're gonna blame Egypt. That's crazy work.
Yeah.
Sorry if I kicked them too soon.
No, that's all right. I don't have any. I don't think we need to platform Zionists. I don't think that until I see different actions from Netanyahu, even if his numbers, even the numbers that they've reported, 65,000 deaths, 1,200 people died on October 7th. That's not justification.
I also wanted to fact check him on his claim when he first came up, saying how the voting for Jewish people was actually it's 62% went for Harris and 36% went for Trump.
Yeah,
so that was.
We don't break bread with Zionists over here.
Good evening, Schnookazoogaloo. How you doing?
What's up, buddy?
You know, same old. I'm assuming you voted for Trump?
Yeah.
And we know each other.
You've been in the queue for Oh, yeah. Oh, you do?
What's up, RTP? Long time no talk to, man.
Good to see
How's
you.
the golf game?
Shitty, man. Shitty right now. I don't get to play enough.
Dude, I almost had a hole in one the other day. I'm so mad again. I missed 6 inches. It should have went in.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
So what's up?
I like that Matt guy you had on earlier. I agree with both of you. You had some good points on the 2A and the pew-pews, but there's one thing you said that is totally untrue. I got to just bring it up to you. The AW-17, or whatever you want to call it, is great for home self-defense. Everyone I know has them for home self-defense. So I don't know who's telling you they're not. That's bad information. So
I've never heard anybody say that's a good choice.
Yeah, high capacity, very maneuverability. It's great for home defense.
I would never use that in my home. The rapid fire, the ability to have that many shots go through other walls. There's people in the house. I think that's silly. But either way, today we're talking about free speech. I don't want to talk about Second Amendment. I'm generally okay with the fact that there's a Second Amendment. What I'm really concerned about is it seems to be the unwillingness currently by everybody on the right to talk about the fact that we are attacking free speech every day. There's never been a president in either of our lifetimes who has attacked the First Amendment the way that Trump has, and I think we need to address that.
Yeah, I'm kind of on board with you. They're kind of getting to a slippery slope here. They got to be very careful with it.
Slippery slope?
Some of the things that I've heard recently, they got to,
Okay.
I agree. I mean, hate speech is not good, but is it, you can't take away people's right to the First Amendment. So, I'm kind of on board with you. I got you.
What about the messaging that the reason that violence has happened is because people call Trump a fascist? What do you think about that?
I think it goes deeper, and just hear me out for a second.
Sure.
I think this goes deeper over the years, and what I mean by that is this: Clinton was in office, nothing happened. Bush was in office, nothing happened. Obama was in office, nothing happened. I know so many people, friends of mine, who were voted for Obama, would talk publicly that they voted for Obama, never had problems. And then here comes Trump, 2016. And month after month after month, video after video for 4 years straight, nonstop videos of Trump supporters in public wearing the red hat, being assaulted over and over and over again. I think it's just it was a buildup over years. And then 20, he lost. And then I thought when he won 24, okay, well, we're never going to see that again. And it wasn't even a month, and a video comes out of a guy with a red MAGA hat being assaulted again. I'm like, here we go again. Like, so I think it was a buildup of years of like constant, like between that and the riots and looting and just the constant things being done by the left. And listen, there's bad on both sides.
Wait, but hold on. Too. I get what you're saying. 75% of political violence is perpetrated by the right. When you say that people were assaulted for wearing a MAGA hat, that's fine. You can say that, but why are you pretending like MAGA people weren't assaulting? Why are you we can't sit here and pretend.
I'm not.
Okay, so let's
I'm
get.
I'm not saying.
So I want to get.
Did.
Wait, I want to get back to the original question because my original question is. Why is it being spoken about by this administration that the reason all this violence is happening is because we called Donald Trump a fascist?
Well, understand.
Is there any evidence of that? Is there any
2 assassination attempts on his life? I mean, come on.
Okay,
you got to expect him to, he's.
But why? No,
I mean, what do you
more
expect?
specifically, why is it them saying that? Because Donald Trump called Joe Biden a fascist. Donald Trump called Kamala Harris a fascist. Nick Fuentes called MAGA a fascist movement. The J.D. Vance called Donald Trump Hitler. So why do you see how maybe to us it's like this is weird? It doesn't seem like it's about that word. I think the problem they have with that word is it's really fucking accurate.
I think a lot of words are thrown around too much today that lost their value, like racist. Racist is being used all the time.
But we're going to talk about fascist right now because I'm using it correctly, and I believe people in this country are using it. Okay, so why is it this is the frustration for us? Why is it when Donald Trump is obviously a fascist? Are you guys not standing up? Are you the folks in every fascist movement that you're like, oh, well, it's not going to hurt me, so I'll just be quiet about it?
Again, everybody has their opinion. You have an opinion that he's a fascist. I don't agree.
Why not?
And we disagree. We disagree on this.
Well, let's talk about it. Why don't you think he is?
Here's the problem I have.
Wait, no. I want to talk about this. I'm tired of everybody trying to run. Every person I've brought up today doesn't want to have this conversation. It's the only conversation I want to have. I want you to explain to me why you don't think he is a fascist.
I just don't.
Why not?
I just don't. You threw out some comparisons about the mustache man, about the people, what he did to the people back then, like what he's doing now. The Jewish population back then, what were they doing? Nothing. They didn't do anything to deserve anything that was done to them.
What are the trans people doing?
Nothing.
What are immigrants doing?
I'm not. Listen. There's.
What are the immigrants doing?
Immigrants or illegal immigrants?
Illegal immigrants.
Okay.
What are they doing?
Majority of them are good. I already told you this. Majority of them are good.
Okay, so why are they in concentration camps?
Again, you're using the word concentration camps. I don't agree with that term.
Well, why does where they're at not count as a concentration camp? I think the last guest, to be fair, the last guest probably had a good point. I probably incorrectly used concentration camp, and I should have said open air prison. I actually think he's right about that. But if we're talking about the camps right now, why are these not concentration camps?
Again, open air prisons. I can agree with that. Again,
that's over in Gaza. I'm talking about what's happening here. Why are these not concentration camps?
Again, I don't consider them concentration camps. When I hear concentration camps, I think of back what a concentration camp was back in World War II.
Right. And so this is the problem that we have. We're not allowed to use words correctly because because a concentration camp, if I read it, a concentration camp is a place where large numbers of people, such as prisoners of war, political prisoners, refugees, or the members of an ethnic or religious minority, are detained or confined under armed guard.
Okay.
Does that not fit the definition of where these immigrants are currently staying?
Yes, because they're refugees. I agree.
Okay. So these are concentration camps, right?
Okay. Again, it's a term you use. I look at that term differently, but it technically replaces semantics. Yes.
And this is the problem.
But
Everybody's afraid to make the comparison. Just because I say concentration camp, just because I say fascist, just because I talk about the things Trump's doing, doesn't mean I'm saying he is going to perform the Holocaust. We don't know. But all of these things that Germany did before the final solution, those things were all bad too. It's like nobody's going to care until we actually do the final solution. And up until then, you guys are just going to go along with it, which makes you no different than the people in Germany.
I'm not going along with it, but there's terrible on both sides. Listen, here's the state of the Democrat Party.
Give me an example of a concentration camp on the other side, because we're going to stay on topic. Trebek, we're going to stay on topic tonight. I'm not going to let you derail. So if you're saying there's terrible stuff on both sides, let's talk about exactly what we're talking about. What's an example of the left making a concentration camp?
I wasn't referring to a concentration camp as when I made the comment terrible on both sides. I was referring to an example of what is so terrible about the state of the Democrat Party right now.
I'm not talking about what's bad. I'm talking about fascism. Again, I'm not going to let every guest that I've had so far is running from this, and you guys want to play.
No, I'm not running from it, but
okay,
let me just say that.
No, because we're talking about fascism right now, and the only way I'm going to let you talk about the left, who has absolutely no power in this country. They don't have the executive, the legislative, or the judicial. They are powerless. The only way we're going to talk about the left tonight is if you're comparing something that we're talking about with fascism to the left.
But we're talking about political violence, right?
No, we're not.
It's kind of combined with what we're talking about.
The only reason political violence has been brought up is that they are using this particular instance to do fascist things. They're using political violence as a way to smear their opposition, take away people's rights to speak, and it looks like they're going to start saying like, oh, you're Antifa, you are now a terrorist. So you've got to give me examples on the left of anything even remotely close to this.
Okay, what are you asking me specifically? Tell me what you're asking me specifically.
I'm asking you because
you won't let me say what I wanted to say.
Well, yeah, and sorry, but that's what we're going to do. I think that what we have right now is fascism. I understand that there are other things in this world that are bad. I want to talk about fascism tonight, and I want to talk about the attacks on free speech. We can talk about either of those two things.
Okay, what about a presidential candidate and a vice presidential candidate wanting to unalive the president of the United States?
Who did that?
Is that a problem?
Who did that?
Okay, Kamala did it.
What?
And then
how?
Hold on. Kamala did it, and then
how?
Just a couple weeks ago.
Not move on. How did she do that? You don't get to list.
She was asked specifically if she was in an elevator with Donald Trump and two other people, what would happen? She says, "Does one of us have to come out alive?" Insinuating she would unalive the president of the United States. That was specifically said by Kamala. Then a couple weeks ago, the vice president said insinuated he was hoping to wake up to hear the news that the president of the United States was no longer living. So this is a first for our country. All right.
Now you're missing. I have to fix.
Give me a second
hold on.
to finish.
I'll let you finish.
Just give me 1 second to finish.
No, because you missed. I'm going to just correct the quote because I have the quote here. She was asked by Ellen DeGeneres if you had to be stuck on an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be? She said, "Does one of us have to come out alive?"
Right, insinuating she would unalive the president of the United States.
No, it's not. She didn't even pick a person. There were 3 options.
Everybody knows it. This has been all over.
Oh, everybody knows. See, now you're going to interpret
even
it.
the Democrats agree. That's what she was insinuating. The Democrats agree.
No, she said, yeah. First of all, do you think, so you think Kamala Harris was going to, like, that she was serious about taking Trump's life?
It's not a matter of serious. This is what I'm trying to get across to you. For the first time ever in our country, a Democrat vice presidential candidate and a presidential candidate both are talking about unaliving the president or hoping he's unalived. And you're sitting
What did
here,
What did Joe Biden say? I disagree on the first quote.
No, Tim Walz. Tim Walz, when he says he woke up, is hoping to hear the news, joke, and he was joking too. He was joking, but he was hoping to hear the news that President Trump was no longer living because he's old.
Okay. Okay. So what? I don't get what your point is here. Then again,
that is the state
hold on.
of the Democrat Party right now.
Hold on. Okay. Okay. So it's slimy. So you're not going to talk about free speech or fascism. You just wanted to get that clip in.
Free speech.
Okay. What's the free speech issue here?
I don't think they should be penalized for it. I'm on your side about free speech. People, it's hate speech. It's not funny, but they should be penalized. I agree with you.
Okay. So then it kind of seems like, yes, we're attacking free speech, and yes, they're fascist.
Again, I don't agree that we're just disagreeing.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this in good faith. Then I'm going to pull up the 7 tenets of fascism, and what I want you to understand, because I've had this conversation a million times, and it always derails, and it derails in the same way every time. So I'm going to ask you to be good faith here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all 7 tenets, and we're only going to talk about Donald Trump for all 7 of them. We are not going to talk about Democrats. We're not going to do whataboutism. When we're done with the 7, if you think that you can make a case that a Democratic leader also fits all 7, we'll have that discussion. But while we go through all 7, I know whataboutisms, okay? And then I'll give you an opportunity to make a case when I'm done. And I know there's a galaxy sent. I see that, Amanda, but I just promised him I'd let him have an opportunity, so we're going to stretch this out a little bit. So I'm going to go through these, all 7, and you just tell me if this fits Donald Trump.
Now, hold on. Now I got to go. So I'm not going to be able to, have a conversation other than, a minute or two.
Said you will.
No.
Okay.
We're going to have time. All right, number 1. Oh, shit, that's not the... It's the 7 fundamental tenets. That's it. That is. There are a lot of different 7 tenets of there's one of Satanism. I had the wrong one. All right, let me pull this up. All right, number 1, powerful. Oh, this is the 16. This is better. Anyways, powerful, often expulsionary populist nationalism centered on cult of redemptive, infallible leader who never admits mistakes. Yes or no? That fits Trump.
Does he make mistakes all the time? No, most of the time he does not.
Has he ever?
I think he has in the past.
I've never heard him admit a mistake ever.
I agree. Not many times he has. He has not many times. He has.
Do we agree that this populist nationalism is centered around him? That he is the movement?
The MAGA movement, yes.
Okay, great. We'll go to the second one. Political power derived from questioning.
Hold on, but before you go on, yes, the MAGA movement, but he still cares about America and the citizens of America.
Fair enough. We can't quantify that, but it's fine. You can say that's fine. You can say that. Number 2, political power derived from questioning reality, endorsing myth and rage, and promoting lies.
They all promote lies. Every president has done.
You promised you weren't going to do whataboutism this whole time. Again, these are just about Donald Trump. Okay.
Okay.
And by the way, it's political power. Sure. It's political power derived from that. Donald Trump rose to political prominence. How? How did he get in the political spotlight?
Tell me. What are you?
He claimed that Barack Obama was born in Kenya.
Oh,
that was his rise. That was his rise to prominence politically.
That was minuscule.
No, that was his rise to prominence politically. That's when his name started getting floated by Republicans as a candidate. Okay,
so he ran before that. He ran before that as a Democrat,
and he didn't ride, and he never ran as a Democrat. He ran on this third party.
Oh yeah, he did. He ran as a Democrat in 2010.
No, he ran on this third. It was a third party. But
It's called the Reform Party.
Reform Party. Thank you.
Okay.
But okay, so we got that one. 3, fixation with perceived national decline, humiliation, or victimhood.
Yes and no.
He literally says every day we are a nation in decline. Every day on the campaign trail, we are a nation in decline. We've lost our nation.
He says every day our nation
they're eating
is
they're eating the
strongest
cats.
it's ever been.
We have open now he does. But again, the fixation was with a perceived national decline, humiliation, or victimhood. We are
He
victims
said
of
that when he
immigration.
was running, but once he's in office, he says we're the strongest nation
Right.
ever.
This is about the rise to power. All right. White replacement theory used to show that democratic ideals of freedom and equality are a threat. Oppose any initiatives or institutions that are racially, ethnically, or religiously harmonious. He believes in replacement theory. You know about replacement theory?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
They're coming in, they're taking your jobs, they're eating your pets.
Yeah.
Okay, replacement
Yeah.
theory. Got it. We're not gonna have a white population. Disdain. Number 5, disdain for human rights while seeking purity and cleansing for those they define as part of the nation. We got people disdain for human rights while seeking purity and cleansing for those they define as part of the nation.
I don't agree with that, not necessarily, no.
Okay, well, we know that people have due process in this country, even if they are not here legally, and yet those people have not been given due process, which would be, again, disdain for that's a human right, while seeking purity and cleansing for those they define as part of the nation. If you're part of the nation, you get due process. If you're not, you don't, right?
Again, I've seen so many instances where people are claiming they're not getting due process, and then I do my research and
Abrego Garcia is the perfect one. He did not get due process.
Okay, again, there are exceptions.
I understand, but Donald Trump came out and said he doesn't get due process.
Okay, and again, I don't agree with him.
I know. I'm just saying. Again, we're going through these. All right. 7, supremacy of the military and embrace of paramilitarism in an uneasy but effective collaboration with traditional elites. So, supremacy of the military and embrace of paramilitarism in an uneasy but effective collaboration with traditional elites. In this country, the traditional elites are going to be the rich, right?
Right, but our military, I think every president should show supremacy with our military.
I understand that, but it's the part that is in there is with collaboration from traditional elites. Who has had the biggest increase in military contracts? SpaceX, Elon Musk, right?
Well, I was going to say the other one who makes our weaponry.
They've percentage-wise, they haven't had the biggest increase. But yeah, of course, Lockheed Martin. That's who you're talking about?
Lockheed Martin, yeah, that's what I was going to
say. Peter Thiel invested in Palantir. Now Palantir, we have a private company for some reason, like running our surveillance and our intelligence agencies. So he is unifying and collaborating with the richest among us and mixing them in with our military, right?
Just before you go forward, let me just say this, and you go forward again. I'm not a huge Trump fan.
I know.
You know that.
I don't. I get it. We're just trying to decide if he's a fascist or not. But we're just trying to. But we're just trying to find out if he's a fascist or not right now. I understand that. I understand that. Okay, so that's 7 for 7. 8, rampant sexism.
7 for 7. I don't know if we're 7 for 7, but
you've agreed on all 7. Number 8.
No, I didn't. I did not agree on all 7, but there was a couple I did not agree on and half agreed on. But go ahead.
You agreed on all of them. 8, rampant sexism.
Say that again.
Rampant sexism. Come on, don't make us argue about this. We cannot.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Every white dude, almost every white dude in their 80s.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll give you that one.
Control of mass media and undermining the truth.
Again, I'm split because the media is continuously lied about him.
They're allowed
for years,
but they're allowed to.
No, they're not.
Yes,
no,
they are.
See, that's the problem. The mainstream media is the problem in our country.
Wait, no, we're not shifting subjects. Is he suing every media organization?
I'm not agreeing with all his suits, but some of his suits are legitimate that he has sued in the past.
Do you believe he wants control of mass media?
I don't know if he wants control, but I'm not going to agree to that 100%. I think the media has done him wrong more than he has done them wrong.
Yeah, so does that mean that the government gets to take it over?
No, I don't think the government should take it over.
So control of mass media?
No, again, you're assuming.
I'm not assuming. He literally sued the Wall Street Journal for not saying Gulf of America.
But there's no evidence that he's going to take over the media.
It's not. It's control, right? It's not taking over. It's control, and he's using lawsuits as a way to control them, to get them to do what he wants them to do, right?
Again,
come on.
There are many suits he filed against them that were because of the lies they put out about him.
Well, he's lost every single lawsuit. So I don't know.
He settled one out of court just recently.
Yeah, and they admitted no fault. And basically what they said is it's gonna and they did it so that he would sign on a merger. But in that agreement, they admitted no fault. There's no crime.
The media is. I'm a huge anti-media.
I understand you are, but I think we agree that he's trying to control the mass media. He's trying to get them. I'm not saying he pulls every string. I'm saying he wants to be able to use the government to force them to silence things he doesn't like.
Do I think he uses them to his benefit? Try to use them to his benefit?
He's trying to
control them that way?
Yeah, so we agree. Great.
But again, go ahead.
Great. All right, 10, obsession with national security.
You don't agree, but go ahead.
Obsession with national security, crime and punishment, and fostering a sense of the nation under attack. That's an obvious one. We can't argue about that one.
No, say that one again?
Obsession with national security, crime and punishment, and fostering a sense of the nation under attack.
Well, there should be an obsession with national security if you're president.
I know, but obsession with national security, crime and punishment, and fostering a sense of the nation under attack.
Okay.
So obviously, right? And again, there are reasons that you could be you could.
See, but I don't think that's a fashion. I really don't think that's a fashion.
Listen, the point of this is to say, like, if they meet all the tenets, fascism is not. It's not defined. It's what you're doing is you're looking at fascist movements and you're looking at what they all have in common. So what we're trying to identify right now is, does Donald Trump have all these things in common with other leaders? If yes, it's probably a safe bet to say, like, this is fascism.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
People think you're going to show up and say I'm a fascist. Nobody ever says that except for like the Fascisti in Italy. They were the only ones that ever said they were fascist.
Well, let me ask you this: if we come to the end, I think he's met 11 of the 16, but I think Bill Clinton met 9 of the 16.
Well, I'm going to let you pick a president, and we're going to go back through them. Okay.
Oh my God, I don't want to do that.
Okay, religion and government are intertwined.
They shouldn't be.
Okay, but did you see J.D. Vance yesterday say, I appreciate all the Democrats that have reached out and wished me well after I lost my friend, and as much as I'd like to embrace them, we cannot come together until we accept truth. And the truth is that Jesus Christ was born of God, an immaculate conception, that he was the Savior of the world, that he came here and he died for our sins. And we cannot unite until we agree on that.
Yeah, you can't force somebody in religion.
All right.
I agree.
Okay. 11, corporate power is protected and labor is suppressed. Suppressed.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, cool. I thought you should be on that. I thought we'd agree on that. Disdain for intellectuals and the arts not aligned with their narrative. Dude, we got a big disdain for intellectuals. He literally said yesterday, smart people don't like me.
Again,
I love the uneducated. He's going after universities. They're too woke.
You know, he says stuff though, just to get you guys riled up.
Or he's a fascist. All right, so we agree on that one. 14, rampant cronyism and corruption. Come on, he's made billions of dollars in literal Ponzi schemes since he came back into office. He's made something like $10 billion running Ponzi schemes since he's been back in office.
What did he lose in his first term?
He gained money. He gained wealth.
That's not everything I've seen in research.
I know, but that's because what he says that. But every single property.
No. That's what the experts said. He lost money in his first term.
No, every single property was underwater when he came into office, and they all had record years while he was president.
Well, they say his wealth dropped quite a bit in his 4 years.
Well, I've seen no statistical analysis that would say that. But either way, this time, I would say this is rampant cronyism. He's giving all the deals to his buddies. He's running crypto scams. He's letting everybody else run crypto scams. He literally just did something the other day where World Liberty Financial, which he's an owner of, but a silent owner, that his son and Steve Witkoff's son run together. Steve Witkoff is a special envoy to the Middle East. They got $2 billion they got a $2 billion investment from the Qataris. And like 2 days later, Trump signed a deal giving them access to NVIDIA chips.
Oh, listen, I'll take your word. I'm not big on the crypto. I don't know much about it. I haven't done much research on it, so I'm not going to really comment on it.
You know all these trade deals he's doing with the tariffs? And you know how he keeps announcing that as part of these trade deals, these countries have promised that they are going to invest in the United States? You know how he keeps doing that?
Yep.
And the mechanism he says that this is going to be distributed is a sovereign wealth fund. And who is going to establish, or who's going to control that sovereign wealth fund? He says he is. That should be established by Congress, but he's saying, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyways. So he's using tariffs to force people to give him money, and then he gets to decide where that money goes. He can give it to World Liberty Financial, he can give it to Tesla, he can give it to NVIDIA, he can give it to OpenAI. He just gets to pick and choose winners and losers.
Well, I don't know if you talked about this, but I know for a fact he's going to have to bail out our farmers. I don't know if you ever talked about that.
Or maybe there's somebody in place. Have you heard of Acre Trader?
No.
Acre Trader is this app and this program where you can buy like fractional shares of acreage, and it has a lot of really, really large investors. Weirdly, a lot from South Africa. Peter Thiel's involved. I believe Elon Musk has some money in there. And guess who else benefits wildly from farmers going out of business and Acre Trader buying up their farms? J.D. Vance, who's one of the owners. So
well,
maybe
let's hope that
maybe
happen.
Maybe they're just killing farmers on purpose.
Because I know I did see a bunch of stuff on that the other day. What was it? What are we selling overseas that we aren't selling now?
Soybeans.
Soybeans. Yep. I saw a lot of farmers are hurting right now. I know we're gonna have to bail them out.
See, or we let them go, and JD Vance gets their farms, and then we drop the tariffs, and these Acre Trader people start being the soybean farmers.
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope we at least help them out.
I hope so. Fraudulent elections and creation of a one-party state.
Well, you talked about this a couple of weeks ago or a week ago about you wanted an audit done in my state, and I couldn't agree more in Pennsylvania for the 2024. I still don't like what happened in 20 in my state, so I'm agreeing with you. I think there should be an audit done in 24, but I thought something should have been looked at in 20 because I don't like what happened in my state in 2020.
Well, I live in a state where they audited it 5 times, and every time they found Joe Biden won by a little bit more. So I'm on the we wasted hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, last one's often seeking to expand territory through armed conflict.
No, I mean the Greenland and
what about Gaza? What about Gaza?
I don't know what's going to happen with Gaza. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon yet.
Well, Trump said he gets it. So if we take Trump at his word, he said he gets Gaza.
Well, you can't. Come on, you can't take Trump. See, that's the thing about you guys. In one breath, you say you got to believe everything he says, and in another word, you say how dumb he is. You can't believe anything he says.
Well, the weird thing is Israel put out this plan. It's been scraped from the internet now in like 2018, and they literally put out a plan for Gaza, and it was interesting what was there. There were a lot of like Trump-looking hotels. There were beachfront properties, and weirdly, everybody was driving. They were mock-ups, and everybody was driving a Tesla. Weird, right?
No, I hope it doesn't happen.
How about our armed conflict currently in Venezuela? How about us just blowing ships out of the water? How about Trump saying he's going to send our military into Mexico?
Well, that's a conversation for another day with the drug cartels. That's a whole other issue.
And how about our purchases where we now have controlling interest in the Panama Canal?
You're not backing the drug cartels, are you?
I mean, I'm glad we agreed that Trump's a fascist. It's so nice for you to be on our side.
No, I'm not agreeing he's fascist.
That was 16 for 16. You all 16.
Oh, in your mind, he was 16 for 16.
If you want to try to speed run, I'm going to just for you. I don't want you to try to pick a president to go this because it's not going to go well for you. So maybe if we want to if you want to come back we do this every Wednesday. You can come back and do it again.
We'll give you a minute. You get the last word.
Yeah. So we got others waiting in.
No, I'm gonna jump off. It was good talking to you, man. I haven't talked to you in a while, so
yeah, it was good talking to you. Take care of yourself.
All right.
All right.
Get out on the golf course.
All right, I will. See you.
There.
I have to come up and be the meanie because no one wants to be the meanie.
That's all right. I was done.
I think that you won't get mad at me, but you just don't say it out loud. I said you probably get mad at me plenty. You just don't necessarily say it.
No, you're usually right.
So all right, we've got there you go.
Hey guys, I'm not a MAGA, so I want to make a real quick comment. You are awesome, RTP. It's tragic. It's tragic that you didn't get a chance to, talk with Charlie Kirk, because I think you would have blown him out of the water if the two of you had debated. And also, I just want to say, as a Jewish person, that there.
I think they got you. Sorry. I don't think we're doing friendlies. Sorry about that.
Damn, even Admir got kicked? I didn't kick you, Admir.
Oh, there you go. Take that, Admir.
Damn, Jen. The fuck? I didn't even say a damn thing. I've been quiet all night long. I'm proud of myself.
You're muted, Jay.
Oh, thank you. Did we clear out the box? I think we did.
No, there was somebody in there, but when the other person was added up, they dropped. So I just sent him the invite.
Oh, did you know who it was?
I think so.
Okay, why are you whispering? Everybody can still hear you. We're not all in a room together. It's a microphone in front of you.
Oops.
Got quiet. All right.
This is awkward. Just a little bit.
Dude, you're remarkably awake right now. What's going on?
Well, I was told that I can't do any more, edibles.
Uh-oh. Did you get in trouble?
Oh shit! Yeah, I kicked you again. I thought I had left.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jen. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was me. My bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. I was like, damn. I didn't even say nothing.
I gotta establish my dominance again. Just so you.
Oh, yeah, my bad, dude.
But let me read. So we got a super chat on YouTube. Chaz Chop was hyped up as a secession. Cope and seethe.
Wait, what? Read that again.
Chaz Chop was hyped as a secession. Cope and seethe. In Washington during 2020.
Okay. I don't know. I have no idea what any of that meant.
Yeah, they're just trying to say in 2020, like there was in Chaz Chop in like Seattle, they were talking about that it was the government was being taken over. People made that claim before, so I think that's what they're trying to say.
Oh, because they took over those street corners?
Yeah. And then let's see, I think they were Venmo came through. I don't know if you want to check out Venmo or anything like that.
Oh yeah, let me look at.
Cash App.
Leah said, "Thanks for working hard to keep us informed." Thanks, Leah.
Yeah, I think that's all I got. All right, we got a MAGA.
All right.
MAGA demon, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Hey, I'm assuming you voted for Trump, right? Just by your name?
He wants Trump 2028 to be exact.
Yes, I
He
voted
wants-
for Trump.
You want Trump in 2028?
I was going to put Trump 32, but I don't know if he'll make it.
So is this like a troll, or are you actually for real?
No, man, why would I want the greatest president ever to go away?
All right, cool. Well, this is pretty simple. Talk to RTP, whatever you want to talk about, and just keep it respectful and cool. Fair enough?
No problem.
All right, take it off.
I go way back with RTP, like 2 years ago when he first started.
Do we? Sorry, I'm bad with names and voices. I apologize.
Yeah, when you first got on, I was on a lot. Used to talk to you a bunch.
Okay. So what are you thinking?
Oh man, I don't think Trump is a fascist. I think he's just getting revenge. I think he's just getting a little payback.
That's a weird thing to say like he's not a fascist, but you want him to stay past the time he's allowed to stay.
Oh man, I don't really think he's staying, and I just put that up there to get your goat a little bit. That's how I got brought up.
If he did, let's say, just declare a state of emergency and cancel the elections in 2026 and 2028, would you care?
Of course.
So would you turn? Would you turn on him then?
I wouldn't like it. I don't know what we could do about it, but I wouldn't like it.
Okay. Would you, if he declared a state of emergency tomorrow and started sending the National Guard into cities, would you be okay with that or no?
No, I don't think you should do that.
Okay. How do you feel about his designating Antifa today as a terrorist group?
I mean, they are. I think it's fair. They get violent, here and there at certain protests or counter protests.
So why is that a terrorist group? Why isn't that just like everybody else who sometimes gets violent at a protest?
I mean, why are 5 Italians together that commit crime? The mafia? I don't know. Just that's the way it is. They're Antifa. They've got a reputation.
And Antifa, of course, stands for
anti-fascist.
Do you think is it not alarming that like the anti-fascists are being labeled a terrorist organization at the very time we're all saying this is fascism?
I mean, the Proud Boys are like the counter to the anti-fascists.
Yeah, like
so they're a terrorist.
Brown shirts, yeah.
They're a terrorist organization, right?
I think they were. I don't remember if they were labeled a domestic terrorist organization.
I thought the Southern Poverty Law Group.
Well, they could be by the Southern Poverty, but it's different when it's the government, right? The Southern Poverty Law Group. It's different. It means something totally different if the government declares that, right?
Yeah, I believe they are though, but like I'm not 100%.
They could be. I'm looking. So how would we define? How would we even go about like tracking down members of Antifa?
I would probably not be that hard. I mean, you have a group of them that are out in Portland every night trying to destroy a federal building. So they wouldn't be hard to track.
So why would those people then be a terrorist organization, but the people on January 6th wouldn't be? Why would MAGA not be a terrorist organization?
Well, I mean, I think you know the answer to that, RTP. It's the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rule. Right now, Trump is in charge. His people are going to be, doing whatever they want to do.
It's this type of indifference that leads to atrocity. I think that's what's scary, is that it's alarming to me how many people in America are just like, well, this has never happened before in our country, but it is what it is, That's true. That's Trump for you.
What can you do about it? I didn't like it when Biden was in there and he was letting a wide open border. What can you do about it?
Well, the first thing you can do is acknowledge reality that our border was never open. That would be the first thing. And not speak hyperbolically so that we could have an actual conversation about what happened at the border. But unfortunately, we have a country where the right wing of this country, everything they say is hyperbolic. Literally nothing anybody ever says to me is true. We didn't have an open border. It's nonsense.
Well, can we at least say it was mismanaged?
Sure.
Yeah, it was poorly managed while Biden was in office.
Yeah, but I don't think that had anything to do with Joe Biden, honestly.
I don't know.
Well, I
don't know who it had to do with it.
I mean, the president doesn't the president can't control who comes to the border. The president can't change the laws at the border unless he has a complete feckless group of cucks who just let him do whatever he wants, even when he oversteps congressional authority, which Trump is getting, which is useful for him. But Joe Biden was a little bit like he believed a little bit more in the Constitution, so he didn't just take authority.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You said the word cuck, and I started laughing.
No. Feels like it. It feels pretty. It feels pretty fucking cucky. Like the way that people talk about Donald Trump is, like North Korea is like chill. You knock it off. You guys are ridiculous. The way people talk about Donald Trump is alarming.
I mean, a lot of people in our country, RTP, like they're either red or blue, right? Like that's it. They can't be purple. sometimes they can't be like, I like to sometimes come over, mingle up with the blue people, and be like, what's up, what's up? You can't have that anymore. You have to either be red or blue.
And here's
That's
and
the
here's
biggest problem.
and here's why. The everybody on the left views Donald Trump as an authoritarian and a fascist. And everybody on the right views everybody on the left as a threat to the country. We have a problem with Donald Trump. We don't really have a problem so much with you. We have a problem with Donald Trump. But the right has a problem with all of us. That's why, like, every time Trump, like, we're arguing back and forth, like, if it's like, Trump did this, and it's like, oh, well, Adam Schiff did this, and Nancy Pelosi did this. And you always have to compare Donald Trump to the entirety of the left in order to find, like, instances that add up. But Donald Trump himself, he is the entire party. We currently have all of Congress refusing to release the Epstein files, despite the fact that like 90% of Americans want it released, and they have the ability to do it. And they're only not doing it because Trump threatened them. I don't know a better word than cuck.
Actually,
Hold on. My friend wanted to say something.
As it is, I appreciate your usage, but in what if you could expand on that? You guys, in what was my version of cuck involves a husband and a wife and a third party. How is it? In which way are you using it? I'm straightforward. I mean, I'd like to know how you mean that.
What, cuck?
Yeah, cause like I said, a cucky to me is like a husband who's letting his wife bang somebody in front of her. Is that how is that being used as far as what the president's doing?
When I'm using cuck, I'm saying they're sitting in the corner and they're not participating.
Fair enough. That's what what I thought you meant.
Yeah, which is. It's pretty accurate description of Republicans, isn't it? Right now, just sit in the corner.
It's just a little
Trump
weird. It's just a little weird that we're talking about cuts. Right
calm down, Admir. Calm down.
Just a little weird. Okay, cool.
I was watching Bill Maher earlier, and I don't know, man. We got problems. You got people on the left are violent, people on the right are violent.
I don't think the people on the left are that violent. I think that is a myth. 75% of political violence is from the right. Every time, it seems like every time you try and frame somebody as on the left that did violence, it doesn't turn out to be true. Like this kid at Utah Valley State or Utah Valley University, this is an apolitical person. Anybody who tells you that this person's on the left or the right, they're just telling you how they feel. They're not backing that.
I don't believe he was like some crazy big leftist or anything, but
the Butler shooter was MAGA too. Both these guys were raised in MAGA households.
Yeah, but sometimes you rebel against what you're raised with, you know.
You do, but that whole Second Amendment thing and that whole taking everything you learned as a child about taking revenge. Those are Christian. That's conservative beliefs, especially Mormons. I can speak to this kid because I grew up Mormon. His entire life he's been taught that violence can be justified, that unaliving can be justified for a righteous cause, and that wasn't the left that taught him that. It was his deeply conservative Mormon cult that taught him that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure your facts are straight on that, but I saw something tonight. I saw a study that said at Gen Z, 42% of Gen Z think, political violence is okay.
Yeah, this is a remarkable, this is going to be the best example of the cuckery in the Republican Party right now, because they've all decided to go out and repeat this same lie. This is a YouGov poll. And I looked at the YouGov polling. First of all, it's 24% of young people. But the question that was asked is, do you think it is acceptable to celebrate to be happy about the death of a political opponent? That's the question that was asked. That's not justifying it. It's, do you think it's okay for people to be happy? And I agree with that. I actually think it's okay for people to be happy about the political death. They have every right to do that. We all have rights to our own feelings. You don't have to agree with it, but you have the right to be happy about it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. The biggest thing is.
Can I ask you a question though? You can check this because you can go to YouGov and you can get this. Let's just assume that what I just told you is true. Is it alarming that all of the Republicans, including like Ted Cruz, just introduced a bill citing this YouGov poll, which is a poll, by the way, not data. The data says 75% of the political violence is committed by the right. Trump, by the way, his administration just took this off their website. That study no longer exists on the Department of Justice website. And then they all went out and they're all lying to you about a poll, and they're using it to justify saying we're going to war with the left.
Yeah, they had it all over TV today.
And it's a lie. It's a flat out lie.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't really look it up before I got up here, but I didn't really think I was even going to come up. But, you know, RTP, I'm 50 years old. I don't know how old you are. My buddy's 50 years old.
I'm 64. I just look really good.
You just look good.
Yeah. For 64, I look good.
As a guy who grew up, I think as normal as you can grow up in America, I don't like it. I don't like what I see.
Do you know how that actually, that makes me feel good? Because I do think that generally this is the conversation I'm having with my, real life Republican friends. Nobody likes this. And I think, if you scroll through, my YouTube live, there's a bunch of, people on the right that are probably trolling, and they're celebrating this. It's been a kind of an eye-opening night tonight talking to Republicans. I don't think anybody's comfortable with what's happening right now. I don't think anybody thinks this is good.
I think we're on a bad trajectory, RTP, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
And I'm sure my buddy who's just going through a divorce and he's staying with me and my wife. Speaking of cuck,
yeah. You're in the chair right now. That's what all that background noise is. What a good friend.
I think that he would probably agree. It's a bummer. Watching us going through this, having lived through the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. And now this shit, it's a real bummer.
Yeah.
It's not fun, and I wish we could get out of this funk and just move along.
Yeah, I don't know the answer, but I do know that it's a hard thing because my voice trying to get this to change, Republicans aren't going to care, Trump's not going to care. Honestly, the only way that this stops is if a significant amount of Republicans start putting pressure on their elected leaders to stand up to Trump. Because and the only way they're not going to be cowards is if they think they'll still be able to hold office. Because Trump's telling them, if you go against me, I'm going to primary you. You're toast. And so it sucks. I feel like the fate of this country is in the hands right now of Republicans and Republican voters.
And I know I know some personal Republicans here in Florida. We grew up with a couple guys that are in office now. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah. So, anyways, man, have a good night, guys.
Yeah, it's good talking to you. Enjoy the rest of your activities tonight.
All right, buddy.
See ya.
Stay safe, sir. Hey, I wanted to, before the other guest comes up, I wanted to ask you, have you ever looked into this fucking clown that's coming back, Milo?
Yeah. This is I
know there's plenty.
The word grifter is overused. This guy's just a fucking grifter. He's gross. He's an attention whore. He's just Laura Loomer. He's lies all the time. This is a guy who is he joined the Republican Party. He was openly gay. And then people started giving him shit about it. And he's like, hey, I'm Christian now and I'm not gay anymore. But he just lives with his boyfriend still. He's just lying. He's like, oh, I can't make money if I say I'm gay.
Not only that, but I know there's a bunch of MAGA people watching this, and I really implored him to look up what happened in 2015 and why he was forced to retire. In this particular case, math is mathing, right? Math is mathing why he would support Trump and all of that. So I would just really implore people to look up why Milo basically retired and why did he have to resign.
Are you talking about the Gamergate stuff? Is that what you're talking about? Is that why?
No, I'm talking about that famous interview.
The bright.
He was asked about
EDO stuff.
Yeah, about the 13-year-olds.
Oh,
sleeping with the adults. Yeah,
that's right.
That. And so
I forgot about
if you look
that.
a little bit deep Yeah. So if you look a little bit deeper into that, now it's starting to click, why now he wants to come back. And in this particular thing, math is mathing.
If you are a bad person, all you have to do to join the MAGA movement is swear allegiance to Trump. And honestly, if you do have like a bad past, if you do have a history of being canceled, that's better for Trump because you're easily controlled because nobody wants you. And so Trump is the landing spot for those who have been cast off. And that you see that, like Stephen Miller. Nobody wants anything to do with Stephen Miller. He's front and center. Nobody wants anything to do with Laura Loomer. She's front and center. All the people around Trump are extremely, I guess, like compromised people. And Trump has leverage, and their proximity to power, they'll never get that proximity ever again because they are far too compromised. Like Pete Hegseth wouldn't even be allowed anywhere near a leadership position in the military, and he's the Secretary of Defense. Why? Because he's loyal to Trump.
Yeah, he's a yes man. Same with Kash Patel, and Damage. Everybody around this administration is a yes man. And that's, I mean, there's not a single Republican or in that party that will tell them no. I mean, the only kind of example that we saw, which now I'm a little bit kind of like, when the whole thing with the E, with the Boebert and MGT.
Yeah.
When they all Nancy Mace. That's about the only time that I've seen anybody kind of give a pushback. But that wasn't even really a pushback. That was just them playing because they know they're.
Yeah.
I mean,
child sex trafficking was a bridge too far for them. But for most Republicans, it was fine. Most Republicans like, no, we can still overlook that. But like three of them are like, nah, this is actually a problem.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of funny that it's taken what was it, 3 women? Yeah, Boebert, MTG, Nancy, and then you had Thomas Massey. So yeah, 3 women basically are on the verge of kind of calling out the MAGA, but now you haven't heard nothing from them, and it's
no, they're back to war
amazing...
with trans people now. They're back at war.
Yeah. I mean, I seen the post where Nancy Mace is now talking about how she wants to put in a bill for Ilhan Omar.
Yeah.
Now listen, I don't agree with Ilhan Omar, for worth a shit, but I mean, to denounce her citizenship, to kick a sit-in, that's just.
I bet you'd be surprised how much you agree with Ilhan Omar on once you read kind of what she actually says and what she's about, you realize that a lot of this is Islamophobia and misogyny. Because she's not they paint her to be so radical. She's just really not that radical.
Well, that's because she, I looked into her.
She wears a hijab.
She is not.
She looks Muslim.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, my mother wears a hijab, and I actually had an incident last week about that, where I literally had to slap a dude. Because my mother is an older woman. She wears a hijab. She practices Islam, and all that. And he said something slick, and I didn't want to punch him. I just slapped the shit out of him.
Jesus.
So now I'm gonna have to deal with that, and it is what it is. But man, I don't understand where we're going with this. It's just people are ridiculous, man.
All right, well, you've got a guest here, Tony. What's up?
Shit.
That seems
Tony.
very excited for him.
How you doing, man?
Well, that's a nice introduction there, Admir.
I know. How you been? Everything good with your case?
What?
Everything going good with your case?
What case?
With the whole T guy on your property?
Oh fuck! Did you see that? Yeah, I gotta go on Tuesday to the magistrate's court. I had a guy come onto my property, right, making terrorist threats. We don't know where he came from or why he was there, but he was shouting out that he was going to take me out, and I made a TikTok of it.
God damn.
That's the violence, okay? Not made up. That's the real shit that most people will never see in their lives. So, you know, when they got all these fucking haters in your group here, 900 of them go, oh, fucking rich guy, Tony fucking baloney, blow his fucking brains out, right? Some cunts actually do that shit.
Oh,
They
wait,
come onto
whoa,
my
whoa.
property with
Tony,
children.
Tony, come on, Tony.
Come on, man. We got to keep
What?
it. We got to get the language, man. I don't want to lose my
All
platform.
right. Okay. So this is what I wanted to talk about.
All
So
right.
I really, you know, RTP, I actually, funny enough, despite our disagreements, I actually really do like listening to you. But there were some things on here which I think you were going a little bit too far overboard on. I mean, one, which just because it's right stuck in my mind right now, when you were talking about this YouGov poll that they came up with, I think it was a couple of days ago, and they've had it there for a while. But that was only relative to an earlier poll that was being posted for weeks.
It's an ongoing poll. They keep
that one is
this.
that one is an ongoing poll. But the big one came from, and I had to quickly research it just a little while ago because I had read about it before. It was done by a group called the Neural Contagion Research. And what it was done back in April, and what they had actually said, they had done a poll of 1,260 different people, and the poll actually showed that 38% of respondents, and they were talking to Democrats, so it was limited to Democrats. I mean, I'm assuming, you know, I know people can lie in polls, but the 38% of what they called as standard Democrats had stated that it was justifiable to use a pew-pew to assassinate Donald Trump.
That's not the side. That's not the poll they're citing.
No. That's a different poll. No, I totally agree.
So before you explain that, I just want to make sure they are all lying about what that poll says, right?
I didn't know that there was a second poll until you actually mentioned it. So I'm not even going to claim that I knew about that second poll on the YouGov poll. I haven't seen it.
Okay, so they're citing the YouGov poll, and they're saying that the question is it okay? Like, do you think it's okay to be happy about the death of a political opponent? And that's the number that they're citing. That they say they're justifying, saying that it's okay to commit political violence. So I'm looking for this poll that you're talking about, but I just want to be clear. Like, they've said specifically, it's a YouGov poll. This is the poll they're citing.
Yep.
That's this one called neural contagion research?
I actually wrote it down. I can't even read I think it's either neural contagion research or network. I think it's network contagion research. And you can just put the keywords in network contagion research. 55%, because the second part was quite astonishing. It was 55% of what they considered to be far left wing said it was justified to use a pew-pew to assassinate the president. And that's the one that I had been reading about or listening to on TV over the last couple of days, and I had no knowledge of the YouGov one that you were just talking about.
Okay.
So you will see this research poll by Network Contagion Research. It will be out there. So you want to have a look at that one. Now, second of all, the one I only know this not because I'm not saying because I'm a smart ass or anything, because you know I always think that. But you know, one of the things that you were talking about was these 14 tenets of fascism.
16.
And well, they might have been changed, because the one that everybody talks about, I hear about this in all the liberal lives, and I did some research on it just because somebody mentioned it to me. The one that everybody talks about is from a guy called Lawrence Britt, and he has the 14 tenets of fascism: cult of tradition, rejection of modernism, cult of action, disagreement is treason, fear of difference, appeal to social frustration, obsession with a plot, and it goes on. That list is actually fake. This is the reality behind
What do you mean
that.
it's fake?
There is no guy called Lawrence Britt. There's another guy that sounds like that who's an author, and he authored this a long time ago, but he's not a political researcher or a political science, and he based it on another guy, and I'm just trying to think what the other guy's name was. I wrote it down, but there was another guy who wrote about the tenets of fascism. But what he stated in his book was, this is not so much about fascism, it is about authoritarianism. And equally, all of the different tenets that people refer to today in the social media context that we're talking about, these can equally be associated with the far left as much as the far right. So it's all to do with authoritarianism rather
wait,
than
hold
just
on.
fascism.
How the far left is not nationalist? They're not nationalists. That doesn't make
You
sense.
don't believe the Soviet Union was nationalist?
I don't believe the Soviet Union is like, if we're looking at like current politics, and you're saying this could be applied to the far left in this country, the far left of this country is not nationalists.
Well, I'm not necessarily talking about just the United States. We're talking about the political principle by itself, because I mean, if you're going to use fascism, well, then obviously that was done in Italy. That was under Mussolini, and that's how it all arose. So to apply it to a modern circumstance today, we are having to look back at the initiation of where it came from. But nonetheless, the totalitarian government of Mussolini could easily be associated with what the Soviets were doing back in the Second World War.
Yeah, but it wouldn't. But it's not fascism.
Then.
Like I agree with you. I think people think that like authoritarianism isn't right or left, but like calling it fascism, that's what indicates that it's coming from the right. Authoritarianism can happen, and it does resemble. And it does.
I'm not going to disagree with. I won't disagree with that part.
Tony, please. I've let you talk a lot. Just let me get my sentences out.
Sorry.
Like authoritarianism exists. Obviously, you have examples from the USSR. You have examples from Mao. Like authoritarianism, any ideology can turn authoritarian. That's why I don't like ideologues. That's why I don't like ideologies in general, because it's easier to corrupt somebody who is ideological. But like fascism is just pointing to authoritarianism that is historically on the right.
Yes, if you are going to say fascism, I agree. But when you look at those definitions of fascism, and whether you want to say there are 7 or 14 or 16, I was going to say, because it depends on which one you look at. You can go through of those. Don't take this the wrong way, because this isn't meant to. This is just meant to prove a point. If I said to you, well, what is the definition of a monkey, or how can you describe a monkey to me? Well, it has 2 legs. Well, it has 2 arms, it has 2 eyes, it has a nose, it eats food. And I can go down the tenets of what it is to be a monkey, and then I can say to you, well, what are you? Because you share everything that there is to do with a monkey. But the reality is,
I don't have a tail. I don't have my hot.
Well, no, I understand, but it's not everything. So how many of the things do fascism and communism share? So when we go down these lists of what is fascism and what is communism, they share a lot.
Yeah, but I'm not arguing for communism. Donald Trump is clearly not a communist. Donald Trump clearly is not a far left authoritarian. Donald Trump is clearly a far right authoritarian, that's why the word fascism is accurate. I don't really care about the word, but what I'm concerned about is that in this country we have an actual fascist that fits by every definition. He fits it, and they're telling us we're not even allowed to say that anymore. That if we say that, it incites violence and we will be persecuted for it.
Right. Now this goes back to the most important part where you've said a couple of times about talking about free speech. Now, the reality is, I mean, and this in a normal way, I'm going to say this. We have had an attack on free speech literally by every president that there is. This goes back to John Adams.
With all due respect, Tony, I don't want to go back to John Adams. There has never, ever been a president who sued every single outlet.
He's not suing them as president. He's not suing them as president. He is suing them as Donald Trump as a private individual.
It's irrelevant. The effect is the same. You get
well,
there's a loophole. Who else in our
RTP,
lifetime?
Yeah, Nixon did. Nixon did the same thing with the Pentagon Papers.
Yeah,
he did it with the White House.
He was a fascist. He was a fascist. He wanted to be a fascist.
But you hang on a second. You clearly stated we have never seen this in our lifetime.
We haven't.
And I am telling you that is not correct.
Hold on, Nixon.
Okay?
Who did
We've
Nixon
seen
get
it with
fired
the
from the media?
Papers, the White House plumbers. There were always legal challenges to suppress all dissent in the newspapers.
Tony, who did Nixon sue and win lawsuits or win settlements from?
Well, that doesn't make any difference.
Oh,
Whether he
oh,
sued
okay.
them or not, whether he sued
Does
them
it?
or not, he actually put them on an enemies list, and he had what was called, and obviously you don't know, so no.
I do.
offense
Wait,
here
I
when
do
say
know.
that.
I do know. And what's
You know who
ironic,
the White House plumbers were, right?
I don't know their names. No.
Okay, well, the point about the White House plumbers were they went out to find who was fucking leaking information, and they intimidated them. They literally put the FBI and the CIA on their backsides.
I know.
That
I know.
is-
Look, I'm friends with Jack Anderson's family. I've heard these stories from Jack Anderson and how the
Right.
FBI was following him around everywhere. I dated his granddaughter.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with this. It doesn't change the fact that what Nixon wanted to be a fascist, but what Nixon had that we don't have now is Republicans with a fucking spine.
Oh,
So-
well, that may be a different issue, but we're not talking about the Congress right now. We're talking about the executive branch. So when you
who was
have
Deep
people-
Throat? Who was Deep Throat?
Oh, he was some guy on the X-Files, wasn't he?
No, he was in. Who was Deep Throat? What was his role?
I know, I can't remember his name. I know what you're talking about. I mean, I'm just joking. But you know, Nixon operated what was called the COINTELPRO
Wait,
organization.
no, I need you to answer that question. Who was Deep Throat?
I can't remember his name.
Do you know what his role was?
Yeah, he was like the head of the CIA or something.
It was Mark Felt. He was the deputy
Mark
director.
Felt, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is Dan Bongino.
Right.
I need Dan Bongino to become a deep throat so we don't have fascism, which we would have. Nixon would have taken us in that direction. Nixon went on an all-out attack after Nixon was caught in a crime.
Right.
And the main difference is, one, we still trusted our journalists. So like Woodward
Right.
and Bernstein and Jack Anderson, they all had credibility. But two, people in the administration stood up. This administration's not doing. I'm begging for a deep throat. Someone's going to clip that, and I'm fucked on that
no,
one.
I
but-
get
Yeah.
it. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay. But even if we go over Trump, now these are things that you might not like. But you know what? Obama himself has been accused as one of the biggest abusers of free speech that there were. He brought in the Espionage Act, which targeted whistleblowers. We had the biggest expose of whistleblowers with what's his name, with WikiLeaks.
You
that
cannot
we've ever had.
wait. In all fairness,
He's
you can't.
punished.
No, Tony. No, you cannot talk about a congressional.
What is free speech?
You cannot talk. Hold on.
What is free speech?
Just let me finish the sentence, Tony. You cannot talk about something that was passed through Congress and then blame Obama. What's unique about Donald Trump is that he is doing it through unitary executive theory, where, again, Congress is sitting in the cuck chair doing nothing and allowing him to rule by unconstitutional executive rule. I understand what you're saying. I understand that our government tends,
Well,
I understand that our
not
government
to-
tends to infringe on our rights, but comparing him signing a bill into law that passed through Congress, and once it's passed through Congress, you kind of have a mandate. Comparing that to Donald Trump putting Congress in the corner and saying, get the fuck out of the way, I'm going to do whatever I want. Talking about like federalizing the National Guard in cities, it is outrageous for you to,
stay
compare
off
those two
that subject.
things.
Stay off that subject for the now.
Sure.
But if you're going to, and respectfully, if you're going to use the analogy of those cucks sitting in a corner, which I tend to agree with, but then you also have to look at how Obama was able to pass the Espionage Act. It was like how he was able to do the Affordable Care Act. He had the majority in Congress, and the Congress, with his whip, made sure that he got his way straight away. So when he passed these, he literally had the whip make sure that he got the votes that was necessary. The reality was he punished free speech because he didn't want dissent of what the executive branch was doing at the time. We can't have this both ways. The Democrats were as much of pussies as what the Republicans are today. So you've got to look at like for like with that. I mean, if you're going to say there's an attack on free speech, it's an attack.
hold on, because you're being dishonest. The House voted 261 to 109 on the, that was the original Espionage Act. Let me look at, I thought it was just a reauthorization from Obama.
Well, I'm not going to, honestly, I'm not going to swear that it was either a reauthorization, but I just know the Espionage Act was done under Obama and in his first term where he
No,
had
the
the majority.
Espionage, I don't think there's any evidence of that. It was passed in 1917. We've had tweaks.
Oh no, I'm
to
not talking about the one under Woodrow Wilson. I'm not talking about Woodrow Wilson's one.
You're talking about the
Woodrow
trade
Wilson,
Defend Trade
that
Secrets
was the
Act?
Espionage and Sedition Acts. Yeah, that was one that criminalized speech against the government altogether about the influence of us going into the First World War.
So you're
This
talking
is a
about
different
you're
act
talking about
altogether.
you're talking about the DTSA.
Yeah, I don't know what the technical term.
The
of it is,
DTSA
but
amended the Espionage Act of 1996 to create a federal civil claim and remedy for trade secret misappropriation. The law gives trade secret owners who have long been reliant on a patchwork of state laws the same access to federal court enjoyed by owners of other forms of intellectual property. I think that you're overstating this. You're calling it the Espionage Act.
No, I don't think that. I'm not. We're not talking about the same. I'm not talking about that same one. We're talking about the one that targeted whistleblowers, which punished the employees and it was to do with their defense industry, particularly.
I'm not.
He also, I mean, he also, don't forget, I mean, if you remember, they also seized all the press from the Associated Press.
So you're talking about the Whistleblower Enhancement Act, maybe?
It could be the Whistleblower Enhancement Act, yeah.
Okay, let's see the votes for it. The bill was authored by Susan Collins, Republican; Chuck Grassley, Republican; Joe Lieberman, Independent; Carl Levin, Democrat; Tom Carper, Democrat; Patrick Leahy, Democrat; Tom Harkin, Democrat; Mark Pryor, Democrat; Mary Landrieu, Claire McCaskill, John Tester, Mark Begovich, Ben Cardin, and Chris Coons. It was bipartisan support. Representatives Issa, Elijah Cummings, Todd Russell Platts, and Chris Von Hollen were instrumental in moving it through the House. This is a bipartisan bill.
Oh, well, that doesn't make any difference.
Oh, you're blaming Obama? No, it does make a difference. It does make a difference because we're talking about an authoritarian and we're talking about fascism. And right now, they are doing nothing. In fact, Donald Trump just has to send out a tweet and everybody sits on their thumbs. You're comparing two things that are not the same. I think you're poo-pooing fascism. And I think maybe...
Well, no, I wasn't really going down that avenue to poo-poo the fascism argument. What I'm
Do you think Trump is a fascist?
No, I don't think he's a fascist, but that goes to the argument of what is the monkey or what is the human. You can look at all of this and say, oh, he fits that, he fits that. But the reality is what we're looking at in our society today is
Do you think he's an authoritarian? Do you think he's an authoritarian?
Yes, I think he's.
All right, well then
I don't.
Okay, so if you don't want to say fascist, you want to say authoritarian. Is that a problem?
No, I don't think that is a problem because I actually understand. And one of the things that you said earlier was, he's going to create a military law that's going to create a national emergency and he's going to stop national elections. Well, of course he's not, because he doesn't control that. That is controlled by Congress.
Not if he declares an emergency.
No, he cannot. There is no law that will allow him. There is no law that will allow him to stop elections, RTP. There is none.
What the fuck do you think martial law is?
Martial law does not stop elections. All you got to do is go straight to Google, my friend, and just look at the rudimentary part of it. The federal elections can only be stopped by Congress, and it has never been done before, and he cannot override it. The elections will take place.
Congress will let it happen. Congress will do it.
Will not let it happen.
Oh, yeah, this Congress is suddenly going to get a backbone, for sure.
Right, because you know what? It is not on an appropriations bill, and it is not on a reconciliations bill, and he doesn't have a fucking majority in order. He has to have literally 2/3 to do it, and he cannot do that.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He does not.
No, let me...
No, you are paranoid, my friend.
No, Tony,
on January the 20th of whatever the 4 years is,
Tony, shut the fuck up. Tony.
Come on, we're being respectful. RTP.
No, I know, and that's why I'm asking you.
There was a galaxy drop.
Let him say for a minute. Tony, when Schmittler took over Germany, did he follow the law?
Yes, he actually did.
He did.
That was the problem. He did.
So when he was made chancellor, that meant that then he could use the military to set up concentration camps and unilaterally declare war, right?
He became the executive branch himself by changing the constitution that was passed under the Constitution of Germany. And it was given the blessing by the King of Germany at the same time.
So if Donald Trump
cannot happen in the United States.
Well, let me give you a scenario. Let me give you a scenario where it can happen, Tony. Donald Trump declares a national emergency. He federalizes the National Guard. He says we're either not going to have elections, or I'm going to put the National Guard in, or I'm going to change I'm going to gerrymander all of these states, or I'm only going to do mail-in ballots. And we say, no, you can't do that. And he says, stop me. Then what, Tony? What happens? You think?
Well, we could have said that about any president in the past.
Yeah, but they weren't federalizing troops.
Nobody, well, they did actually, because Eisenhower federalized troops, and we also had who was in Johnson federalized troops as well.
And did they have a written plan that showed like step by step how you were going to get here and how you were going to seize control by undermining democracy?
This is just paranoia.
I'm sorry. Do you not think Project 2025 is real?
I don't think it has any interest. I don't have any interest in it whatsoever.
Yeah, the people who wrote it just said in order for this to work, we have to be in these positions, and those people are in those positions. The authors of Project 2025 feel this administration in the exact places they said they needed to be. But no, it's not. It's probably a coincidence. It's probably just a coincidence.
Yeah, it is a coincidence, and it's just paranoia.
So
Russ
Vought writes Project 2025, at least part of it. He's one of the co-authors. Right. And Project 2025 hinges on him being the OMB director. And that's just a circumstance. Brendan Carr, who wrote the section on the FCC, says like, yeah, I've got to be the FCC director. He just happens to be the FCC director. They just happen to fall in, they write a chapter of Project 2025, and then they just happen to get that position. That's what you're saying, Tony?
Yeah, well, it's not that he happens to get it, because he puts people into positions that annoy other people. It's like why we have why we have the director general, or not director general. It's why we have the FBI director right now in Congress talking the way he does to other people. It's why we have Pat Bondi as the attorney general. He puts deliberate people in there to piss other people off. Yeah. It's very simple.
Now I think Tony, I think it's you who's delusional, because he's putting in people who won't tell him no. And he's putting in, this is a well-orchestrated plan. Kash Patel on the floor of Congress today said, I have this list of people, you can call it an enemies list, and they asked him, would you recuse yourself from these investigations? And he said no. So he has an enemies list, 20 of the 60 have already been targeted. And he refuses to recuse himself from any of those. They asked him time and time again, can you give us the names of the people that you hired? I'm not giving you that answer. Can you tell Congress, who has oversight, repeatedly today was told by the FBI director, who they have oversight of, I'm not answering that question. I think maybe Tony, you're the elite that's being protected. And what you're doing right now is actually pretty sick. You're coming on here and you're telling everybody, oh, don't pay attention. You're protected by this. This is good for you. Fascism is good for the elites. I'm not surprised that you're afraid of the other side. I'm not surprised that this doesn't bother you, because you won't be affected by it. And even if things get bad, you have enough money and probably dual citizenship to run to another country and hide. You don't live in the real world like we do. You don't know what it's like, Tony, to be a left-leaning content creator and have the President of the United States label Antifa as a terrorist organization, say we're in an all-out war with the left, have J.D. Vance say that we can't unify until we all agree that Jesus Christ is our Savior. You don't know what that's like, Tony. And you poo-pooing fascism here.
Hang on, say that last part again about Jesus Christ.
J.D. Vance went on Charlie Kirk's podcast 2 days ago, and he said, Democrats are reaching out to me, and they're saying, we're really sorry for you and your friend. And as much as I would like to embrace them and come together, we can't come together until we agree on the truth. And the truth is that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, born of immaculate conception. And unless we can agree on those truths, we will never come together.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I understand why people would get upset by that, but I mean, I actually believe the same thing as well, just like you used to believe the same thing.
What do you know about Orthodoxy Catholicism?
Well, I'm not an Orthodox Catholic. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist.
Do you know anything about the Orthodoxy movement in this country?
Not really. No.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, the Orthodoxy community, which is heavily funded, they believe that the church should rule, not the Pope. The Pope's too woke. They want to go back to when the very thing we fled from. They want the country to be run that way. And guess what? It's just weird. J.D. Vance, the same guy who said this, just
hang on. What do you mean run that way? You mean run with the church?
Where
as
the
part
church,
of the state?
the church, yes, the church is the head of the government. They want to repeal. They want to repeal the 19th Amendment, and shockingly, J.D. Vance just a few years ago converted to Orthodoxy.
You mean
to Catholicism?
get rid of women's right to vote?
Converted to Orthodoxy Catholicism. You see what he says about the Pope. He's part of this. He's part of this movement to undo democracy. They believe in the force principle. They believe that everything in life is force. Democracy is useless. The only thing that ever accomplishes anything is force. And you don't know this stuff, Tony, because you don't research this stuff. You're talking to me about history. I want to talk about right now.
I very much research this stuff. I just don't listen to the bullshit that comes out.
How would you know if it's bullshit?
I mean, here's the reality. I mean, you made a comment earlier that just stated that we fled this, to have whatever, no religion. Well, we actually didn't.
No, I didn't say that. I said we came to this country so that you had religious freedom and you didn't have the church running the country.
Religious freedom. Well, you know what? But the church did run the country for an awful long time.
No,
we had the church.
No, they didn't.
You gotta understand this.
Every colony was free to choose if they wanted to.
That's correct.
Yes, and hold on, Tony, because I've already argued with these same dipshit orthodoxy cults. The Constitution is what the federal government can do, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, so the freedom from the federal government to establish a religion was a focal point, correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely
so when these orthodoxy dipshits say they want the federal government to be run by the church, that would be the opposite of why people came here, right?
Yeah, but that's something we're talking about now. That's what you said about now.
That's my argument.
The history has not been that way, which is the point that I made.
When did we have a national church?
We didn't, but we had state churches.
Okay, so it seems like I'm right then.
We had state churches.
I just said that.
Right, but if you are going to look at the 14th Amendment, and the 14th Amendment was very clear at the time that it incorporated the rights to the federal government back to the states, that meant up until the 14th Amendment, up until 1947, that meant any state could have its state religion.
The 14th Amendment grants citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States. And it was 1868.
It's called the Incorporation Doctrine. The Incorporation Doctrine.
You said the 14th Amendment was in the 1940s.
Listen, the 14th Amendment is used as what is called the Incorporation Doctrine. You can just check it out. I'm sorry that you don't know this, but what
you said 14th Amendment. You didn't say Incorporation Doctrine. And Incorporation Doctrine is Incorporation Doctrine the law?
Listen, well, calm down. Listen, the 14th Amendment is known as the Incorporation Doctrine.
By who?
By every constitutional expert that there ever is.
By the courts, right?
No, it's by the federal government, by the courts, by the
Incorporation Doctrine is the process by which the U.S. Supreme Court has applied most of the protections in the Bill of Rights to the states.
That is correct.
They're the ones that rule on it, so it's the courts.
Doctrine of the 14th Amendment. Right. It was written by the Congress to have the 14th Amendment.
And did it establish a national religion?
No. But
okay, so what the fuck are we arguing about, Tony?
Because it wasn't incorporated until the freedom of religion until 1947 under the
Did we have a national religion before that?
It doesn't matter because you define.
Because my argument is that we never had a national religion.
It may be technical to you, but it defines what is the state.
Tony, my argument is that we never had a national religion.
We've never had a national religion.
That's my argument. So what are we talking about?
because we could have had 50, well, not then, but we could have had 30, 40, or 45 or 50 state religions.
I know. I just said that. I said every state could have a state religion. I said it before you did. What are we arguing about, Tony?
No, well, actually, maybe we lost the point on it, going back to what it was supposed to be. But the reality was, during all that time, state religions had influence over politics, is the point.
Nobody's making that argument. You're arguing a straw man right now, Tony.
You said no, but you said we fled from that, and it's not
from
the
a
case.
national religion.
Maryland.
I'm sorry. Was the Church of England a state specific? Was that like provincial in England, or was that like all encompassing?
That was all encompassing.
Okay, so when I said that we fled an all-encompassing national religion, that's what I'm talking about. I'm telling you what I'm talking about. I'm telling you what I was saying. You keep acting like that's not what. Again,
no, that's not what. No.
That is what I said.
Honestly, that's not. No, what you said. Listen, I don't want to argue that. I like you too much. My belief of what you were talking about was that we have escaped the effect of religion in politics, and that
you were wrong.
We haven't.
You were wrong. You misinterpreted what I said. You assumed that I meant something because you assumed I didn't know that every state had their own religion. You assumed that because most people don't know that. And the only reason I know this, by the way, Tony, if we're being honest, is because I have to debate against these orthodoxy dipshits who make the same argument that you're making, but they're making that argument to say, well, we'll just do it this way and we'll create a national religion until we can get fascism. JD Vance
I'm not going to argue that point, but I actually do not. I don't find it objectionable to have a national religion anyway.
Well, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you think Peter Thiel's a technocrat, or that he wants to be a technocrat?
I'd like to be as wealthy as he is.
Do you think he wants to be so when he says that he doesn't believe in democracy and that he believes the elites should rule, would you say that's like a technocrat? And that's a technocrat? You go look at their blue, red. Obviously you know about the blues versus the reds and the grays.
Well,
you certainly know about that, right?
I don't believe it should be the fact that just because you have enough money that you.
I'm not asking what you believe. I'm asking you about what Peter Thiel believes.
I don't really give a fuck about Peter Thiel.
Okay, well, Peter Thiel groomed JD Vance out of college. He has funded he's funded every move. He's the reason JD Vance is not only the vice president, but he's also the reason that JD Vance is an Orthodox Catholic. I've done my homework. I've done my homework.
Okay,
Tony.
Okay, but then here's a point to consider. That's all irrelevant when you have 250 congressmen going over to Israel to stand in front of the Jewish parliament.
What does that have to do with this?
So you might talk about whether or not we have orthodoxy Christianity, but when we're actually on
not
our hands
Christianity, Catholicism, orthodoxy Catholicism. It is a right-wing fascist religious cult.
Hang on, RTP. I'm not a believer in the difference that you might have or some other people might have between the difference between Catholicism.
It's not about what I believe. It's about what they believe. It's what they state.
My family were Catholics.
I don't care, Tony. You don't know anything about this.
Well, I certainly know about Catholicism.
You don't know anything, but you don't know anything. But you don't know anything about this right-wing movement of Orthodox Catholics. And how they want to take over, and how they're getting pretty fucking close, and how they've infiltrated
I don't see 250 of our senators and House congressmen going over to the Pope. Do you?
How do they figure?
But I do see them bending on their hands and knees over to the Jewish people, over to Israel.
Yeah, that's because that's who's funding them.
Well, that's right. Where the argument is.
Wait, what does that have to do with this argument?
Well, the argument is that where I don't have any objection to Christianity being in the country in any form.
I don't have a problem with it being in the country either. No, I have a problem with them ending democracy.
They're not going to end democracy.
Well, it's their stated goal. That's the goal of Project 2025, which, again, the authors are all in there. The authors that want to end democracy, that wrote Project 2025, that said, in order for this plan to work out, you need to put us in these positions. They're all in those positions. They all want to end democracy. They have a plan to do it, which you haven't read.
No, I haven't read it.
All right, so maybe go read it and then come back and talk to me about it.
I'm not interested in Project 2025.
Well, then I'm not
honestly.
interested. Then I'm not interested in your opinion because it's worthless here. You don't know about the orthodoxy cult, and
Well,
you don't know
weren't
about
talking
Project
about
2025. And you're
We were
you're
talking
telling
about
me,
the freedom of speech.
you are telling
We were
me,
talking about
you
the
are
freedom
telling
of
me, Tony,
speech, which-
Tony, you're telling me that I'm being hyperbolic, and you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So if you want to go read it and come back to me and then still say I'm hyperbolic, fine. But you're just up here as like
I'm not interested in reading it. I'm not
You're just
interested.
bloviating.
I'm not interested in reading a vampire novel.
There is 2 people in queue. Can we use the Galaxy Drop that Hex sent for
Yeah,
Tony?
we'll finish. Go read Project
Yes,
2025, Tony. And
Thank
I'm
you.
not
Bye,
reading,
Tony.
but yes.
Sorry.
well, then you don't really. Your voice doesn't matter very much. Then,
I
Tony.
couldn't anymore.
Thank you, Amanda.
The love of ravioli, thank God.
Thank
Okay.
you, Hex.
Yeah, thanks, Hex. W's for Hex in the chat. If you want, there was also, he kept talking about the 14th Amendment and that whole thing. That had to do with certain parts of the Bill of Rights. I put the screenshot in our chat.
No,
if
I
you
have it up.
wanted
He
to-
was talking about the incorporation doctrine.
Yeah.
Who did you guys vote for? Who did you guys vote for?
Well, hold on a second, just real quick.
I'm not gonna hold on. I'm asking a simple
Oh
question.
boy.
Is this Oslo?
Is this Oslo? Yes,
Is
it
this
is.
Oslo? I know
That's
this is
Oslo.
Oslo. You're not. That's a mistake to come and try to pull that when I'm here.
Oh,
What?
Yeah,
Hi, Oslo.
not the Trump Vance bio.
Hi, Oslo. All right, this other person is op.
Okay.
All right, cool.
You've been waiting.
This is probably gonna be the last one tonight. My voice is on its way out.
yeah.
Hey, yeah. I don't really deal in modern day politics too much. I'm more of a historian. He was wrong about he was dumb about his thing, trying to equate it to the 14th. I was just wanted to correct him. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were specifically the Reconstruction Amendments post-Civil War. It was passed by Congress in 66, ratified after Andrew Johnson got impeached in 1868. He was dumb.
There we go.
It had nothing to do with what he was talking about. It had everything to do with making sure slaves weren't put back into slavery. Birthright citizenship you can't deny based on race. Those were what those amendments were for. The original intention of them. Now, they've been interpreted for different things, especially the 14th, as our country has, proceeded down in the future. But the original intention of them was so we wouldn't go back to, they were literally to say, hey, South, you can't have slaves anymore. Those were the intentions of the.
I think what
13th,
he was
14th,
talking
15th.
about with incorporation doctrine is that like the mechanism, like the due process clause, is the mechanism they use, which is referred to as the incorporation doctrine. I had no idea how he was linking that though. I wasn't sure.
Right.
It's about
they're
due
not
process.
even right. They're not even they're not analogous in any way. Those amendments strictly dealt with the institution of slavery to make sure the South wouldn't do it again. Those are those amendments for. Now, the 14th, to be fair, has it been argued in different ways, like with abortion? Sure, but the intention of them was specifically post-Civil War.
There we go.
I just wanted to correct them.
I appreciate that.
That's all, man. I'll be honest with you. I've talked to you before, like 2 years ago, when your lives were getting taken down left and right.
The good old days.
I remember you messaging me like, cool, I'm back up. But I don't really deal in modern day politics, so I can't really have a conversation with you on that front.
All right.
Fair.
Well, thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
All right, Oslo is in the chat, and so is 25. They're both in chat, so I don't know.
Two
Just
different.
FYI.
You could have two different devices. Bring them
he's
up.
requesting back up, and he's talking shit in the comments, which I don't think that's very Oslo-like, is it?
I don't know. Bring them back up. That's fine.
I could be wrong.
Here comes
Seriously,
Jen.
I have 3 devices and a computer with 3 screens and another computer. So I mean, it's doable. I mean, I trolled day one time. Come on.
Your
Jen,
mic.
you sound like
Yeah, your mic is shit.
It's my AirPod. I mean, sounded an awful lot like there's someone else in request. I don't know who they are. I mean, it's 10:30. Are we doing a show tomorrow?
No show tomorrow. We'll bring them up. If they're not married, we'll drop them down.
Okay.
Admir, what are you doing, Admir? You can do your job?
I'm just trying to figure out. No, I'm just trying to figure out how to say the name.
Dollars?
Dollars? Are you here? Are you with us? Dollars? No? Did they even realize they're up here? No?
I don't think so. All right. I think, well, let's see. Now who's in? No, Cam. No.
Cam.
No.
Oh, shit.
All right, we're going to call it.
Cam is like younger fuzzer. He just always trying to get up. All right. All right, everybody. Admir, last words from you?
No, actually, it was a pretty good live, man. I actually learned a lot. You didn't crash out like normally you do.
Tony
So that's
almost
much
got me there.
appreciated.
Tony almost got me there.
I know. I was like, please don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But yeah, it was a good live, man. I actually enjoyed this one more than any other ones. I got to learn some stuff, and I'm hoping that you might actually talk about on your morning ones about this Milo dude. I think he's getting a lot of traction.
I feel like
I think that
he's one of those people that I would rather ignore. Like, the more attention he gets, the more like radical people side with him, because like any opposition to him is beneficial. He's like Laura Loomer. I think that unless they're directly affecting politics, I think they're best to just be ignored.
I see your point. Yeah. Amanda? Oh.
Amanda, are you going live tomorrow or for another day?
You talking to me or Admir?
I mean, we were wrapping up. I was going to say if you guys planning on going live, if you guys aren't following Amanda and Admir, they host their own lives. So if you guys haven't, if you're not following Amanda and Admir, do that.
I'll be on tomorrow.
Amanda's had some interesting lives recently, so she's always.
Some just got here.
Huh?
Some just got here.
Your headphones suck too, Amanda.
No, I have. Okay, is this better?
That's way better.
Yeah.
All right, I had my finger on top, like on the mic. Sorry.
Punchy finger in the mic.
I'm not gonna respond to that.
I mean, I gotta keep it weird. So.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. So no show tomorrow for RTP. Amanda should be live tomorrow if you're not following her. And Admir always goes around cause different trouble, so I can get a DM.
Are you gonna come on cam tomorrow, Jim?
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. It means like I have to like look like a real person, which I don't know if I want to do all that.
I fully support it.
Do you guys remember when Jen actually turned on her camera?
What?
I think it was Amanda's live, or I can't remember whose live was it.
That's what dude. That's what we were just talking about. Where were you? Did you just get here? So
that gummy's kicking in.
No, I didn't even take any. What the fuck?
Amazing.
Okay, my